Were they bots?
Clearly, it's your spirit animal, Rob, and it's a Flash. The bot, robots are terrifying.
It's amazing. I'm so good. 4 solo wins. I keep saying to John, let's game up. Let's play. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And then I get a message at 11:30. Game?
Yeah,
No.
this guy. Why do you go to sleep so early? Bro. Why do you go to sleep so early?
Because, man, look at it. To stay this young looking, I need my sleep.
Hey, everyone.
72.
Welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine Podcast. That was behind the curtain. So thank you all for joining us. I am your host, as always, Stu Pei. With me, as always, is the owners and proprietors of Heroes World store in Markham, Ontario, John and Andre. Please say hello to the world.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, people?
And, of course, the Prince of Mischief himself, Mr. Flash, a.k.a. the winner of 4 Fortnite solo tournaments. I think that's a record, right? In some world, at least the Heroes World rankings, you have won 4 more than all of us. So
yes, that's really where the rankings begin and end.
All roads lead to this. Mr. Rob Godet.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome. So thank you all for joining us on our podcast. Of course, this is where we talk about all the wackadoo stuff that's happening in the world. We're going to do our review of Wandavision episode 7. We're going to talk about some other topics, including Ezra Bridger, Supergirl, talk about some Mortal Kombat, and some potential Spawn. So that's a little bit of future foreseen for you. So here we go. As we start, of course, we always do the segment of asking Rob to tell us what happened in the episode of WandaVision without ruining it or spoiling it. This is really just a fun game. Can you tell us it without...
For you guys.
He has to spoil it. He has to tell us what happened.
No, he doesn't.
He can't give us his opinion. I think.
I want him to tell us what happened without a positive or negative adjective, and I just want him to go as much as he can without spoiling it. And that's the fun, because John, when we start this in about 3 weeks time, and you're gonna have to do this for Winter Soldier and the Falcon Winter Soldier, we're gonna watch you squirm. So this is great.
It will likely be a lot easier to be like, the 2 guys got off a truck, they shot some people, Falcon flew, Winter Soldier never had to scratch his metallic arm, and the show ended at a great 60-minute pace.
And there was a guy wearing there was a purple mask involved. Done. Yes.
Yeah, it may have been Grimace.
Yep.
So yes, WandaVision episode 7. John, what was the name of the episode this year?
Breaking the fourth wall.
Right, which interesting. Obviously, is a tie to Modern Family and how they broke the fourth wall in their series that they did. So when last we saw our heroes, the Vision was trying to escape the Hex. Wanda, one of her sons, told her that their dad was in trouble. She expands the Hex. Excuse me, a lot of the sword agents turned into clowns, which is somewhat apropos. Monica Rambeau and Agent Wu had taken off to find the mysterious aerospace engineer. And we pick up this week where we are now in the outer edges of this new portion of the Hex is now a full-on circus. Darcy she's the escape artist, has no recollection of who she is. Vision is walking around. My son said, "Why does he keep walking when he can fly?" Good question. He unlocks he unlocks Darcy's memory, so she recalls that what she's actually doing there. They are now on a mission to try to get home. There are some roadblocks, metaphorically and physically, that stop them from completing this, while Darcy is filling the Vision in on everything that kind of happened post Endgame, where he comes to realize that he is no longer alive, or at least he wasn't. He died twice, as Darcy would say. While that is happening, Wanda is at home with the kids, seems to be really nonchalant about the fact that Vision's not there. As I said earlier, is doing her best impression of Modern Family and speaking to the camera or to somebody behind the camera. Outside of the Hex, Monica Rambeau and Agent Wu apparently meet the aerospace engineer. It's not really certain. We don't know yet. Maybe. And we can get into that after. And then as we progress, Vision starts to realize even further now something is not correct with this world, and it appears that the true villain of WandaVision has been exposed. And
Maybe.
the episode ends up with that character having their own little cool 1950s intro, so to speak. And then for those who haven't watched it yet, there is a mid-credit scene that's maybe about 7 seconds long, the first one in this series. So that's where we ended up.
Awesome. For those who have not watched it, there you go. For those who have watched it, we're going to give you our spoiler review. So those who have not watched it, pause this episode, hold on to your horses, watch it, and come back. I can't imagine why you're watching this podcast if you haven't seen the episode, but here we go anyways. If you're not interested, we're just going to go full spoilers. So I'm rambling because I want to give you enough time so you don't complain, like some people have complained before, that you didn't give me enough time before you went to spoilers. So here we go. That is enough time. So we're going to start off, as always, spoiler talk, full Monty with John, the person who has been the most meh about the show. Give us your thoughts. Let us know what you think. Go.
Yeah. So shout outs to the show. I think a lot of people tried to tune in at like midnight or 3 a.m. or something and took down Disney Plus for a second. So good job, guys.
Yeah, good job, everyone. Good job, everyone. Yeah.
So not as articulate as you guys. So I put my thoughts in the form of Jeopardy questions. So
Nice.
if you guys have the answers,
perfect. Go for it.
feel free to jump in. So
All right.
My first one is, the answer is Jimmy Woo. It's of course Jimmy Woo. So the question is, who's the smartest guy on the show? He's the only character.
Wait a second. You don't give the answers before you give the question in Jeopardy. So why don't you?
No, you don't. Okay, so that's that.
Have you
whatever.
watched
I don't know.
Jeopardy?
No, I don't.
Wait a second,
I obviously
wait a second.
don't.
Would you go? He is the smartest person on the show? Question mark. And then
No,
he's
the
like,
question mark is who is the question should be
Yeah.
who is Jimmy Woo, and then John's answer would be the smartest guy on WandaVision, right?
Yeah. I play basic Jeopardy. I don't play.
Not even Jeopardy.
That's not even Jeopardy. I
That's
don't know
even
what the hell
Jeopardy.
you played.
Yeah, that's not how you play.
That was like categories.
Yeah. No. Because it would be who in this show is the smartest character, and then you would say, you know,
Who is Jimmy Woo?
who is Jimmy Woo? Yeah. Like
See, you got
who
it
is
right.
Jimmy Woo?
yeah, but he started with Jimmy Woo, and then it's like
He didn't put
smart.
the who is Jimmy Woo. Okay, that's all good.
Yeah, wait. He didn't ask in the form of a question. That's it. He just said Jimmy Woo and then put the statement. So that's not how Jeopardy works. But yes, continue.
Oh, I feel like I got to reformat these now.
Yeah, you ask the answer in a form of a question, and then we answer like that. That's how Jeopardy works.
You asked the answer in the form of a question.
So, John, your answer would be Agent Jimmy Woo, and the question would be, who is the smartest person on WandaVision?
No, you'd have to. The answer would be who is Jimmy Woo.
Yes.
But
Yeah, that's your answer to the host.
Yeah.
No, but you're not going to say the smart. Okay, well, whatever. It's 6 1/2 dozen the other.
Right.
We're saying the same thing. All we know is that John.
Whatever. Anyway, so my
Maybe you could do Family Feud, John. Maybe the survey said.
my whole
survey
my
said
whole skit
the top 100 people
out the window
surveyed.
now
The
because I don't
top
watch
100
enough
people
Jeopardy.
surveyed is like this person.
Okay,
is the
it's all right,
smartest
John.
person
we'll
on
figure it out.
WandaVision.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
We'll
this is
figure it out,
fun.
John.
I
Don't
like it.
worry. Also, I disagree with your characterization. He's the
He
smartest person.
is.
in
He's
show.
the one that
Go,
tells Monica Rambeau
continue.
not to jump into the portal like an idiot, and then tells him.
That doesn't
And
make
he's
him
like,
smart.
yo, he's always like one step, like kind of
No,
like
Pragmatic.
That's not
Like,
smart.
I
'cause-
tell my son to watch out for a crack in the sidewalk. Doesn't make me the smartest person
No,
on
but
the walk.
he-
I'm just being.
Anyways, Jimmy Woo, he's great.
Because
So,
but frankly, John, the advice he gave her is incorrect because she wouldn't have superpowers and she probably won't save the day if she didn't go through the walls. So
she might have had the superpowers beforehand. Anyways, you guys will
No.
talk. You guys will cover
No.
Monica Rambeau anyway.
All right.
So my next
Okay.
answer in this Jeopardy parody like thing, because it's not actual Jeopardy,
The
as you guys have
John's
said.
version of Jeopardy.
my
Oh,
version of Jeopardy is
Okay.
I'm sure. I guess there's
should-
3 more episodes.
how
to
about
go.
you make
Why
us
not
guess it,
add this
John?
in randomly?
Yeah, so answer the thing and then don't give us the answer. We can see when we figure it out. That's the thing that Jeopardy would work. Like that's the game show. Like if you
All right,
said
let him go
who
to
is
the next
smartest person
question.
in the show, we could all guess and be like, who do we think it is? And then, but yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah.
None of us would have.
Okay, Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, none of us would have said Jimmy Woo, because then you'd be like, incorrect. It's actually Jimmy Woo.
I'm so glad it's not a snake
okay,
draft.
Anyways, so my next answer is sure. I guess there's only 3 episodes to go. Why not add this in all of a sudden?
Who is the villain?
Hey,
what is Agatha Harkness?
No. It's why is there a mid-credit sequence all of a sudden?
Right.
Or what's up with this mid-credit sequence? But yeah, I'm like, why are you gonna throw it in all of a sudden?
Rob, that's the perfect. This is the perfect scene for The Office. If Rob was just like John, if we panned over and be like, why is it? And then Rob would be like,
you'd be like Jim in The Office, like just like
yeah.
All right, so this is my Michael Scott version of Jeopardy, I guess, or whatever.
This is great. This is great, John. This is good. This is
anyways,
captivating television. Next thing.
Anyway, next one is
Andre Mayer participating. We got your back.
Yeah. All right. So, the Vision and Darcy show.
What is the new Pornhub channel?
No.
That's awful, Rob.
Wow, that's awful.
Come on.
I would still say
what is the redeeming part of this episode?
Best part of the episode, yes. Darcy's the best part of this episode, yes.
Yeah, it was basically what is the next best thing we can get to a Jimmy Woo and Darcy show?
100%.
I would take the Darcy and Vision show because that was great. Her explaining everything, explaining the Marvel universe. They created a great character for her to play. That just suits kind of her niche.
Here's the thing. I like her explanation and the way that she does it more than as much as I love the Ant-Man stuff where he's like, there's a girl who met the thing, and then they're back and forth. Like her explanation is much more like, so, and it's kind of like she's like, this is ridiculous as explanation for everything. As much as I love, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I love the scene where he's explaining and they're talking, but this is much more fun because, in her opinion, when she says it, it truly is ridiculous. You just listen to it. Yeah. Well, it didn't really work, and we killed you, and then this happened, and that happened, and we're all going, like we're all scratching our head, going, "Oh my god, this is the MCU." Yes.
So this Vision character that I previously didn't care about, I would see him again in something like this. So, I thought that was cool. All right. So, anyways, next answer is, I guess Sparky's death was kind of shady, so the hints were kind of there.
What is lame character introduction?
Yeah, what is Who Gives a Shit? Like the dog was in there for like 6 minutes in their episode. Like, why pay that? Like, I wouldn't even.
What song was stuck in my head for the next 48 hours? That one. It was very
Baby Shark.
It's basically, did you see this Agatha thing coming?
Everyone. Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. The 1% of us nerds who knew in the beginning, yes, knew of it, but the general public didn't know. Like everyone who was like a true, like, it's of course it's Agatha Harkness. It's like, I got it. The 1% of us who were super nerds and watching podcasts and whatnot, everyone knew. Just everyone else.
It was spoiled long ago. So that if you're someone who follows the media news, but if you're someone who follows the news, then I guess you don't mind that type of stuff is spoiled. Yeah. But yeah, I guess there was little hints there, but they did kind of like
were there really hints though?
Like exactly. So that's honestly, what you guys will do. Yeah, that's what you guys will talk about when you guys
that dog. They said the dog ate something,
poison,
and that happens. Dogs do eat things. The only difference is the dog probably wouldn't have died that quickly. But it is a show where they accelerated the children's growing. So and they didn't, and they just found the dog and they didn't show it. So yeah, we'll talk about that I guess later.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So my last one for all the marbles. This is the $500 question. So Rob, you can win all this.
Daily double.
You haven't gotten anything yet. Yeah. All right.
Daily double. Yes.
So the answer is the cloudy area in the lens of the eye that leads to a decrease in vision. Symptoms include blurry vision and possible double vision. So I guess that was kind of a vision thing.
Oh, what was the commercial about?
The Nexus, right? The Nexus commercial?
No, yeah, it's what is Project Cataract? They called the whole vision thing Project Cataract.
Yep.
So I kind of guessed a little bit last episode that maybe this is all about Vision and not about Wanda.
Yeah, making weapons.
So I don't know if they've copied Vision and this is not the real Vision, or they're trying to duplicate him or do something.
It is looking that there are. Yeah, you're right, John. It's looking like there are 2 main villains in this show. One is the director
Hayward
of
or whatever.
Sword, Hayward, who is like Thor has said, magic and technology are one and the same. They're like two pieces. It's just not understood. So their sword is trying to make sentient robots, a bunch of visions to protect itself from aliens. And then you have Agatha, who's magic, who's trying to, not sure who is behind the situation, but that is, the other villain in this place. So whether
but didn't Darcy though kind of make it seem that Hayward wasn't the bad guy by saying he wasn't trying to steal Vision's body, he was trying to rescue it or something? Like, wasn't it?
I thought Sword had Vision's body, and that's where Wanda took it from.
Well, she was trying to track Vision's body, the decaying vibranium, to do something. She never said, but because when Jimmy Woo received that email from Darcy going, well, everything was about cataracts, it's about looking at Vision, and they wanted to build weapons. Like, the groundwork has been set before, because even in the beginning, he said, we're not looking. Monica was like, I thought this was, the whole thing of SWORD, right? The acronym was, the part of it was like research.
I think she says they were trying to resurrect him,
and he was like, no, we're focusing on AI right now. Like, he set the groundwork to say we're focusing on AI robots, or focusing on like AI protection, because he lost all his pilots. So whether maybe you're correct, where this body is basically they're trying to recreate Vision without the gem, and that's why he has none of his memories, and she just took that husk with her, and that's who it is. But the Nexus can mean lots of things, John. It could mean, a Nexus was, remember when Tony Stark was in Avengers Ultron, where he went to the Nexus, that big hub, and he's like, who is protecting the world? Oh, it's Jarvis, who's rebuilt himself after being destroyed by Ultron, is protecting slowly the world's computers by fighting it off on the virtual world. Which I would love to have that mini a series, basically like Tron, where it's them just throwing discs at each other in the virtual world. Although, who, I think one of us, I don't want to name names, who feels Tron is overrated, but the rest of us were all down. So I don't know. I don't want to shame that person, but Tron shamed them. But 3 of us would love a Tron show where it would be Jarvis and James Spader just throwing discs at each other and making like witty comments. As if they were in the office. So I'm down for anytime James Spader's in it, I'm in. So yeah, I think that was maybe the form of Nexus, or the Nexus of all the parallel portals in Doctor Strange. But yeah, it's one of those things. Yes, John, anything else?
Yeah, that was it. That was all I had.
Okay, good game, John.
So John, quick question for you. The pace of the show now, I think originally you're not down on focus completely on the show. Of digging into the fact that it was a comedy, and now they've pivoted, so it's about 50%, I would say, of that show, and then 50% of SWORD. Are you finally at a point now where this is must watch for you, and you're interested, and you care?
It's still not a must watch for me, but I don't mind watching it. I'm not actually familiar with Modern Family. I didn't watch that much, but it did kind of have an Office vibe. I don't know if that intro was supposed to be more Office spinoff than Modern Family. With the showing of the Wanda and everything like that. I did like they do a lot of explaining in this episode that she's basically falling apart. So I don't know if they need to do that for the entire episode, but the parts that like her acting into saying I don't know what's going on, all the glitches and all that kind of stuff, it was entertaining. And if you're an Elizabeth Olsen fan, man, she gets to really kind of go like all these different levels, all these different styles. So if you're her fan, then I can see why you love this show. Me, I'm still kind of like, but I have grown to really like Vision.
Do you so on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your interest level of Wanda and Vision? Like together or independently, what's your number of 10? Because you started the show going 1. I don't care about these people at all. So where are you at now on the John scale of
Wanda? I'm still kind of meh, but you know what? I've never really like kind of like magical. Like if you ask me, Doctor Strange would probably rank the same, and I would say maybe 5 out of 10 interest of what Wanda's up to. Vision is probably ticked up to maybe a 7 or something like that. And then obviously Jimmy Woo and Darcy is, at the 10.
So your power rankings right now is that for magic users, Jimmy Woo is your favorite magic user. Let me just say that correctly, correct?
No, he's not talking magic.
No, because he's talking about misdirection. Because when he's doing the cards, Jimmy Woo is magic.
Okay,
right?
now if we're gonna rank magical skills, then Jimmy's physically doing these tricks, whereas Wanda has got the aid of special powers. I guess this is where they're rewriting her origin, that she's not a super soldier. She's actually a practicing witch or something. I don't know.
I think it was just it was always innate in her, and the gem just kind of either enhanced or unlocked her pre-existing powers. So this is probably what it's going to happen, because they haven't been able. If you watch the Ultron movie again, it was like only 2 people were viable enough that gained powers to the stone. So they could rewrite it as in all the people before weren't mutants, and you just needed a mutant, and that's basically what happened. They just were able to unlock powers that they didn't know they had. So this could be the ticket to the golden ticket. So. All right, I just for those at home, again, just a reminder, John thinks Jimmy Woo is the most powerful magic user in the universe, favorite-wise. And we're going to jump to Mr. I don't know if I can call you the Prince of Mischief anymore, because John is going for that title hard, Rob. Like, he is
the Prince of not watching Jeopardy.
He's going for the crown. And I don't know if you can catch up anymore, because I'm going to have to give it to John at the rate.
I'll stick to Wheel of Fortune.
Being mischievous and being like absent-minded are 2 different things.
I think I might give him, for all those old school magic users, I'll give him the Jester's Cap. There we go. The Jester's Cap, which is totally useless as a magic card. But Rob
used to be a money card.
Damn it. I know. It used to be money. It's as useless now as a Jester's Mask. But Rob, go for it.
Yes. Hey, how are you?
Ice Age. Go for it.
I'm of 2 minds in this episode, and so I can get into like discussions about the episode, but I have some real issues.
Go to that episode, and we'll come back to the other part, because I know you have other thoughts. I want to.
Yeah. So this actual episode, I'll be honest with you, I'm my patience for the television show format has really waned. They've pulled that toffee. I mean, how many analogies do you need me to use? They've stretched it way too thin. I'm more interested, I said this last week, and maybe even the week before, I'm more interested in what's happening on the outside. I feel what's happening on the inside, I think that they're trying to say, oh, we have some mystery and intrigue and things are happening here. Look at us. And meanwhile, we all want to see what the hell's going on. We just want the answers. We want some context to be provided. And the characters on the outside are far more appealing in watching this show. That being said, I'm going to kind of piggyback on what John said. Elizabeth Olsen, like, if she doesn't get nominated for an Emmy Award, because her range of acting this series thus far is phenomenal. I mean, I think you really have to give it to her. Paul Bettany, I felt
she's gonna have a new demo reel after this. Well, she can play confused, she can play the badass, she can play innocent,
it was just I mean, her body language shifts, the way she, like, everything. So I'm very impressed with the acting and what she is doing. Paul Bettany, for me, kind of fell off a little bit a couple episodes ago, because he was awakening, and yet this episode was hilarious. Like, I was outwardly laughing when Vision is sitting in the chair and he's talking about stuff, and he's making these cracks and these quips, and I'm like laughing, and then he's like, wait, what am I doing here? And he takes off the microphone. Like, I was just laughing at that. Like, it was just, to me, that was kind of cool. We mentioned before, I like the interaction between him and Darcy. The sequence of Monica jumping into that Lost in Space rover, that I think they really poached that from the Lost in Space.
Yeah. Did you notice who made the rover?
Nobody.
No. Well, did you notice the logo on the front?
No, what was it?
It had a big sword logo on the freaking nose of it.
Yeah. Okay, I thought they were okay. So
I felt like this was the same thing they used in Matt Damon's The Martian. They're like, "What can we use this thing for?" It's like, "Well, we built it.
It's exact same thing as the Lost in Space one. Like, it's exact. So, anyways, she's driving through. I don't know why she was wearing the spacesuit. Because what difference does it make? But seeing her actually,
because of her DNA, that was the sequence.
I highly doubt that spacesuit really would have protected her. But that all being said, her actually pushing through and you seeing her, essentially all of her selves, her past selves, and hearing the voiceover from different things. And actually, I feel like you almost heard Carol Danvers.
You did. You heard Nick
back
Fury
from the Captain Marvel movie.
You did. That was the 3 clips were Samuel Jackson, it was Harmonica Rambeau, and that was Carol Danvers. So they did slice from the movie, and then they put it into that episode.
And I thought it was really cool. Like, oh, cool. Obviously, she's now becoming, her power set is becoming, and she doesn't even realize that she's got this power yet, right? I mean, her eyes being blue and everything else, and her confrontation with Wanda towards the end of the series of her, you know, Wanda throwing her up in the air and she lands like that. She did that,
superhero landing,
as Deadpool would say, "Oh, superhero landing," like, you know. So that was pretty cool. I was. And I'm trying to hold my reservation about that. If that army captain was the aerospace engineer, like, that was a whole hell of a lot of a buildup for nobody. So I'm holding out hope that it's a bit of a blind side, that we will actually see who this aerospace engineer is, and they'll tie that in, because we know that there is one more big, huge guest coming, probably towards on the last, and maybe that will be the aerospace engineer. But they kind of built it up for 2 weeks, and then they could have had a throwaway line with, like, you know, when Monica says, thanks, and then the woman's like, yeah, the engineer had to take off, he'll be back, they'll be back in a minute or whatever, or is my friend here? Oh no, they took off, they'll be back, like something like that. So you'd be like, oh, otherwise we're all left to think that this individual is the aerospace engineer. Like, well, that doesn't make it. Like,
she didn't say through the engineer, she said captain, right? So they basically said some of the team is still very loyal to Monica's mom. So they basically did an insurrection and grabbed their own stuff and basically said, we're not following this guy, which also is kind of one of those things where, great, now we have this whole secret Hydra faction in this group. I'm like, great. So it doesn't seem very good anymore when they have another faction inside of it going, we got to do what's right. I'm like,
that's what happened with S.H.I.E.L.D. and look how well that turned out. So, so I like those. There were some moments in this show that I quite liked. What I don't like, we can talk about after, because it ties into the length. The mid-credit scene was more hype than anything else. Like, I was like, oh, mid-credit scene, and it really wasn't that big of a deal.
Why was it a mid-credit scene?
Well, that's my point. Like, so again, we've talked about spoilers, so who cares? But seeing Pietro there spying on Monica, saying, you know, Snooper's got a snoop, and then that was it. Well, you know what? Listen, maybe he's there to cause her harm. Maybe
I think her eyes glow purple for a second.
They do. Yeah.
So she's being controlled now. No, like
blue, or
when Pietro she turns purple, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So and then the whole Agatha Harkness reveal, again, as Stu had said earlier, you know, if you've read the internet, if you watch the videos, we can all assume, we knew that who this Agnes was going to be was Agatha Harkness. I felt, though, that the and showing all these clips of her wasn't earned. Like, it was like, well, you're making it to be an moment.
You like your explanation of the guy cutting the wall, basically.
But yeah, it made no sense.
No explanation.
Like, it didn't. It wasn't like one of these things, like, you know, in The Sixth Sense, where you're like, holy shit, like, you actually see all these scenes and you realize there was none of that. It was like they were making it out to be that she was the villain. So I don't really think that she is the overall villain at the end of the day. If she is, whatever. So, you know, listen, if I'm giving this score out of 10, I would probably say this episode is maybe a 6.5, maybe a 7. I do think, though, that Paul Bettany and Kat Dennings nail it, you know, as Darcy and Vision. I love the Vision in this episode. But as I said earlier, my son was like, I don't understand. Why is he walking when he can fly? Thankfully, he flew out of that jalopy of a truck and took off. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I mean, we have 2 episodes left, and I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of relieved. Like, I kind of wish they just dropped the last 2 episodes next Friday, to be honest. So,
wow, Andre.
But I'll explain why after.
Yeah, Andre, thoughts?
Yeah, I think out of the show being 30 minutes, if you get an actual, like, 2 minutes of pushing the plot forward, and then the rest is just, like I said it before, it's indulgence, you know, like to me, you know, aside from, I can't remember if it was episode 4 or 5 that I actually enjoyed a bit, this show just keeps going downhill. Like, you know, the Modern Family stuff, you know, if you don't know it, you're not going to recognize it. The jokes in this are lame. It's not funny. It's not earned. Everything seems very forced. Yeah, you know, I did think the cool scene of Monica going through the wall looked good, you know, and yes, kudos to Elizabeth because she's got some acting chops and stuff like that, right? But I don't care about anything going on in this show at all. Like zero F's given at this point. Like they've blown it. They've wasted so much time, getting there and stuff. And then the super lame reveal of Agatha Harkness, and then the kind of like Scooby-Doo montage of, oh, the villain did all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but you didn't show anybody. And aside from Agnes being the name Agnes, which is a short form for Agatha, right? Who else is going to pick that up? If you have no idea who this character is, who's picking that up? Also, I guess to dig a little bit more, like Agatha Harkness was, first off, I think a Fantastic Four villain, and then an Avengers villain. And in the comics, she's always portrayed as old as the hills, like just older than Aunt May, right? So yeah, you could pull the wool over all of our eyes and cast this person, but at no moment does this character on screen do absolutely anything that we, the audience, could possibly see to make us think that she is behind the scenes. What she is the only reoccurring character in every episode. So if going forward we have to assume that any character we see in every episode is potentially the bad guy, fine. Hopefully that montage in itself is going to be the manipulation of somebody else manipulating that person, and she's not really Agatha Harkness, but she said that she was, right? And that she's not pulling the strings. But I look at that and I'm like, gee, you can't write anything worse than this is being written. Like, for what this show is, that was just a terrible workup and reveal, especially in the MCU that has a definitive section on magic with the whole Doctor Strange movie, and then also from Endgame and stuff like that. We know how magic works. We know there are legit magic users, Baron Mordo. We know there are all those other people in the school of Doctor Strange, and we've seen them. So we know how they've shown us how magic works. And then we have this, and then we have Scarlet Witch.
There's always different forms of magic. So, like,
Stuart, I 100% agree with you.
We got to wait and see what happens in the next episode.
has shown us, they've already shown us something that's pretty clear and has spanned almost the globe, because a lot of those Doctor Strange initiates were from all over, right? So you kind of, anyways, not saying they can't add to it or build to it. I was just watching that and I thought it was lame. Like Rob said, you tease this person coming about the her friend or whatever, and then it's somebody we don't recognize, and they have a 2-second conversation, and then she tries to ram the.
I think that was it. I think that was the person. I'm pretty sure that was the person.
That was it. So it's just a waste, the scene with them at the stoplight, again, indulgent, too long. He should have flown out 2 seconds later. When she goes into the house and then she's like, oh, where's my kids? It took her too long to realize her kids weren't there. Anyway,
so those at home who are playing the Andre drinking game, that's 5 shots for you, please. That's the typical 5 shot for just the count. But yes, continue.
5 shots of what? Count of what?
There's a drinking game, Andre, when you do your reviews. So that's 5 shots for the folks at home. Yeah, so carry on.
Anyways, that's about that.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No. It's. I think, I think out of everyone here, I'm the opposite opinion. I really enjoy the show. I'm gonna watch it again. I've seen it twice. I'll watch it again when it's up fully complete. I think, inevitably, with the culture right now with the internet, it's that we, just because you said it, maybe it's our fault.
I thought I was on board with you, Stu. I tried to rewatch the first episode. I don't know if you tried to start rewatching it.
I have. Yeah. I watched it again, but I'm gonna watch it again when it's all over. I think we all, want a lot, and I don't blame you, Andre, because we set the bar very high for these, trying to put the bar to have Marvel elevate to the next level. But part of why Marvel does so well is that they just basically hit all the vectors, right? Like, they do a masterful job of connecting all the people that don't watch it into the show and get them interested, which is what their goal is. Not to elevate the craft, but just to hit all the tent poles. And they probably did a lot of like, I guess, market research to say this is what the average person, and if we throw a couple Easter eggs, the nerds will like, and that's how we want to roll out with it. and it works for them. I don't think that we'll ever get the high levels of Winter Soldier, and even there are people that hate Winter Soldier that think it's not a good movie. Although I believe, and I think Andre, you believe it's the best Marvel movie ever made, correct? Andre?
Yeah.
So like it's different strokes for different folks, and I think that they constantly, Kevin Feige has proven that he can do wrong, but I think he goes around and gets different things. I don't disagree with you on any of the comments you said about wasted opportunity, the writing, but I think a lot of it is just the actors that they get to these show. Like, here's the thing about the show. Like, maybe you three are not on board, but if I'm an actor and like Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, and you get this is what you get to do as an actor, you're like, sign me up. Like, if this is what they have to do to get actors to be part of a Marvel Cinematic Universe, this type of opportunities, the acting roles to do something separate, then yeah, people are going to sign up to do this stuff.
But Stu, so I don't disagree with you. I think that, like, I agree. Listen, there's a lot to chew on here. There's a lot of information, but I'm having a difficult time, and I like what I'm seeing. And I've always kind of said, I've always thought that the first 2 episodes were just whack. I liked the premise. It's unique. Listen, it's not something we've ever had before. So I think we should embrace the uniqueness of it, the creativity of it. The problem is now we have 2 episodes left. I'm hopeful that we're no longer dealing with this television show format, but I feel like they've really pulled a lot out of people's patience. And if I personally have an issue with the length of these episodes. And I think that there's a lot here that could be, you could consume it and you could be fine and be cool. I'm excited for the next week's episode. I understand the whole notion of, well, they will only want to give you a whet your appetite and this and that. And that's what usually like a pilot episode is for, or first couple episodes or trailers, not the show consistently week to week to week. It's 37 minutes in length, except for the one, I think it was episode 4, which was 42. It's 37 minutes in length. That's inclusive of credits. So we're looking at really only 30 to 32 minutes of a television show, which I understand fits in the format of what the shows they were trying to mimic, but that's not enough. You're not saturating anybody's appetite by these small bursts of information. Like, it gets to be frustrating, and it's not being like, I want my show, I want it all right now. The week-to-week format works when you give enough information, when you give enough for people to watch, consume, and enjoy it. Listen, The Boys released the first 3 episodes, and then it went weekly after that. Nobody complained. Everybody was like, man, I wish they had all the episodes at once. I love the show. But at least you felt full. You were like, okay, I watched a good hour-long episode. I feel good. I can wait to the next week because I got a lot of information. I quite enjoyed it. This one, they're like, hey, we've got lots of stuff for you. And just as you're getting into it, like, ha! Show's over, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, if you're making it a drama with all this intrigue and mystery, then you have to give us more than just 30 minutes. And again, I can understand, and maybe it sounds like I'm being a petulant child, but that's not what it is. Is that nine episodes are too long.
You are the small percentage of people that care that way. Because I look at the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, audience review. I look at it; it's resoundingly positive. Most of the normies that aren't like us love the show when we watch it without a problem. I think there's only a small percentage of us who care about that way. But if you look at the overall masses of people, like, they're good with this. They're not complaining about episode length at all.
But I think in a way, we are like, maybe it's okay to take the time to get there for people that don't know where any of it is actually going and has the potential to go. Why am I hard on this, on the Marvel Universe stuff? I think because so many people are on this bandwagon that their stuff is amazing. And you're right, it hits the notes, but it isn't amazing. It could be amazing. There's so much potential in the show. Every one of these characters, there's more to dig into.
Yeah.
But we get that 15 to 20 minutes almost of the comedy aspect. It's not funny anymore. Like, it's not. And then we don't get any of the meat and potatoes of what's going on. Like, give me a whole episode about what Sword is doing over in the background, saying, okay, we need to get there, talk more about Project Cataract. Let's hear it from Hammond or whatever the guy's name is. Let's dig in. Let's have a doctor talk about Monica. Hey, your DNA is changing. We don't know what's going on. Maybe you should sit this one out. And she's like, no, I need to save these people because I didn't get to save my mom. there's depth, there's stuff in there, there's stuff to be pulled at. For me personally, they're pulling at the wrong things. That's in my opinion.
And that's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
I think
but
we
I'm
have
just
to
saying,
talk about, Andre, is that our senses of humor, which are all different, comedy is the hardest thing to get universal approval on. That's why there's so many different comedy shows. That's why there are awkward ones, there are slapstick ones. Like, comedies are something where not everyone laughs at the same jokes. Some people appreciate other jokes. Like, Rob and I laughed at a lot of the Vision stuff. Like, I'm with you, Rob, when Vision having that soliloquy to himself, talking and stuff, like, that is classically trained.
Him scratching the back of his head,
it's just the subtle stuff. Like, it's if you watch The Office, like Ricky Gervais, OG, and you watch like those little subtle things that you pick up and you love and you like and you appreciate. But I think, to your point, Andre, like, comedy hits different people. Like, I love the IT Crowd, but it's a very British, very awkward show. But you probably, if you watched the episode, you'd be like, I'm out. So, like, I don't know if comedy is something we can really gauge into, because everyone likes different things.
Right.
But in terms of, I agree with you in terms of, like, extending to have 30 seconds more of, like, conversation to put out the meat, like, pull out the history of characters. Like, you can have 30 more seconds to talk about, Monica, and have that conversation about your DNA is changing. That's never been, disputed. We all agree that's the case. We're just looking at something else besides that, because the length is the length, and we all agree it could be more, and you can add stuff to it without making it drag on too much.
The problem is, though, is that it's starting to feel like, for those who are in our age group, like a Cole's Notes version of a show. I feel like I'm watching highlight reels at times. The 30-minute comedy, we can talk about Friends, you can talk about Seinfeld, you can talk about All in the Family, whatever. Those water cooler shows that you had that were comedies, we went in, you knew it was only going to be 30 minutes and that was it, and you talk about the next day. So I don't have a problem with them having this comedy aspect. What would have been great, though, have the 30-minute show and then have a 30-minute sword or what's happening on the outside, combined. Bridget, when you start melding those episodes together, then you're taking away from the 30-minute comedy format. And so you're not really doing that a lot of justice, because you can't keep the pace of the comedy and the jokes when you're interspersing it with what's happening on the outside. And then what's happening on the outside is condensed to be able to make it meld into that show. So again, it goes back to, for me, the length of the format. 30-minute show, the first 2 episodes that we had, it fit what was happening. Once episode 4 hit, and you went and it was completely a sword episode, at that point they should have expanded the episode out and had to so that way you're getting the best of both worlds. And instead you're getting a truncated version of these 2 formats, and they don't meld well together in a contained 30-minute episode.
I think we've said this numerous times, Rob, that Marvel is shooting their shot. They're trying something different this show. And the true test is the next series, not this one. This series is done. I don't
agree with that, because the next series is completely different.
A different genre.
No, but the next type of series that they do, if it's like this again, they're gonna make their own adjustments. Or the next series, they're like, well, we got to make this a little bit longer. We can find some edit stuff to make it. Like, again, we'll see what happens in the next show. I don't think you can, I think, like, they went for it. They tried something different. And we're going to see what happens. For example, She-Hulk. She-Hulk's a half an hour comedy, right?
What you just said, Stu, what you just said is, like, overall, a lot of people like it. So maybe they won't learn their lesson. Maybe they'll just like, hey, it was a success. We can keep doing it like this, which is great. Dollars and cents, if it's making money and they're going to get their accolades and stuff, that's fine. And maybe that's cool, because they've already got us. Look, we're all wearing a superhero shirt. They've already got me as a superhero fan, right? So it just means that going forward, I'll like, oh, they're doing a sequel to WandaVision, or now they're bringing in a new, whatever show. Maybe they lose me as an audience member, which it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've spent my money, right? But at the same time, I'm watching it with my wife, who, after falling asleep for the other episodes, which are only 30 minutes, right? Then watching this one, she's like, I don't know what's going on. And again, frankly, she's the one who says, I don't even care. She's just watching it because it's something for us to watch. And when she's like, I don't know what's going on, I don't care about the characters, I don't, to me, that's sad, because she's a non-comic book and superhero audience. This is her thing, and the amount of TV that she watches and consumes on Netflix, watches all kinds of shows, all kinds of foreign, domestic, and all of that stuff. But when she watches this show, and it's just like, I won't watch it unless I'm watching it with you. To me, that sense of, because I can't even explain to you how much TV she watches.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing, because I'll watch some of the stuff she's watching and be like, I can't deal with this, I'm out. Yeah. But she watches so much and gives so many things a chance. Again, I'm not saying it's terrible. I just wish there was a little bit more and it was a little bit better. And we've been all talking about looking forward to the last 3 episodes being longer. Yeah. Now we've got potentially the last 2. And at this point, for me personally, obviously, because how I haven't hid what I've been feeling and thinking about the show, I don't know if 2 60-minute episodes, full 60, so 65 with credits, I don't know if it saves this for me. I literally do not know what they can do aside from having Doctor Strange come and they reveal Mephisto, and it's a fight like Mephisto versus like Doctor Strange when he was fighting the what's that guy's called
Dormammu
in the movie? Dormammu. Yeah, like, okay, fine, blow all your load and do that, and you have Scarlet Witch and Vision helping doing that. Other than that, like, I just don't know. And there's no way we're getting 260 real plus credit things at the end. We'll see. Right?
Yeah, no, I think that you're right, Andre. I don't think we're disputing you at all from your initial thoughts of the show, and I think now we're hitting the same beats over and over about it should be longer. This is the thing. Like, I think we can rest that, because that is not, none of us are in disagreement with you on that. It should be longer, just like the same criticism with Mandalorian. This is the same thing that should.
I don't really have an issue with the length.
So they can do more. They just 32 is 30 minutes is not.
I mean, to not make a joke about that.
Listen, go clean up your juice box. This guy is a child. He goes on his rant and then grabs a freaking apple juice box.
Yeah, he's going full Thor, throwing the cup of mead behind him. So it's fine.
I just want to my last point about this whole entire thing is that should I actually forgot what I was going to say?
That's fine. So we'll jump.
Yeah, anyway, I'm excited for the next. I'm excited for the next couple of episodes.
Let me talk while you're thinking. Right, I'll give you.
I got what I was going to say. Is that John? Stu, you had said earlier that people on the internet, Rotten Tomatoes, and this and that. And then let's also forget that John said at the beginning of his weird game is that this crashed Disney Plus. You're right, Stu. People on the line have been saying how great this episode is. People were disappointed. In one, I guess we were all hoodwinked in thinking that these final 3 episodes are going to be more in length. And 2, we thought there were actually going to be some answers given. We wanted to see who the aerospace engineer was. People were not happy about it. So I think it crashed it because it's huge momentum and buildup. Will next week crash as well? I think you're asking a lot of your fans at this point. So.
I think we can all say right now that although the story isn't perfect, the acting is the highest of level. Like, I can't talk about how much I think Catherine Hahn is this super MVP of this show, because she is doing so much in the show. Like, she is truly Inception style acting. So she is pretending to not know what's going on and being brainwashed by Vision or by Wanda, but then she kind of knows what's going on, and most likely she's being controlled by another person. So her acting chops and she probably knows the full story. So she's acting on a 3-level scale of like the difficulty and scale. And Catherine Hahn is fantastic in the show.
Yeah, no, she's great.
She's great. Yeah. So we'll see what happens at the end. Andre, to your point, unless Mephisto, but we can always also kind of agree that Mephisto's not showing up. Like, he's too big for this. Yeah. So like Mephisto is like an Ultron style villain. So you need like a lower, who's the next level lackey behind? So we can say it's probably
should you explain why the speculation is that Mephisto or whatever is?
It's just because it's like he is tied with magic witches in the Marvel universe.
I think the two children were created from a shard of his soul or something.
Yes.
In conjunction with this Agatha character.
Yeah, and
that's why we keep mentioning this name, Mephisto.
And then there's the long history with Dr. Doom and his mother being a witch, who is why he has magic powers that got captured by Mephisto. So why Doom is such an interesting character. Not only is a man of science, but he's a man of magic who is kind of an anti-hero, has fought Mephisto on this level. So you're not going to just give up Mephisto, because now that you think about it more, he's fought Doom, and Doom is awesome. So how do you do this? So maybe it's Nightmare. Maybe that's the end game. It's the low-level lackey, and that's what we get, Andre. Like,
well, my nightmare is that there's not going to be a proper answer. My nightmare is that it's going to be 2 episodes left and be like,
do we even think at this point we are going to get?
I think it's going to be one
Dr.
more villain.
Strange?
One more, and it could be that maybe the villain of Shield or Sword is maybe the bad guy, the true bad guy of this show, and be like, I am Nightmare and I am the villain truly that's been manipulating everything. I feel like that would be the most logical / terrible idea they would do, and we'd all shake our heads going, really? Like that's okay, sure. So that may be the case where we're going to.
Does anybody want to speculate who the big reveal is going to be?
I don't think it's going to be Doctor Strange anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Doctor
You know what I would love
it.
to see?
100%.
I'd love to.
100% he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see Thor.
He was filmed in Atlanta, and he was there, like, and he's in it. Like, maybe for like a minute, but he's in it. So
don't forget, Doctor Strange was also he's in Spider-Man Homecoming 3. So that, and they were filming in Atlanta as well. So I would like to see.
Well, no, but they're filming the Multiverse of Madness in the London. UK, and she's there. So she's filming in London. So
she's in it. But what we're saying is, I don't think Strange may not be in this series. I want to see Thor.
You want to make a McDonald's bet on this, Rob, or you want to go back to our McDonald's dinner bet on whether he's in this or not?
Big Mac combo on the line.
Big Mac combo, because I'm confident. I'm confident on this.
I love to see Thor arrive, and because it was Mjolnir that helped bring life to the Vision. I like to see Thor come back. Point his.
I will buy you a steak from the school if Mjolnir's mouth opens up and he starts talking, and it is Ricky Gervais. He'd be like, "Oh,
and it's Couchy from Pee Wee Herman."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, no. lightning!" Like, can we do that, Rob? I'll buy you a steak from the school when it opens up. If Thor's Mjolnir
I hope they do make a Mjolnir puppet, because then you would look foolish. So there you go.
I'm looking forward to it. To it. Nonetheless, I think we all agree that more often than not, we're all just hoping for the show to be over, and we're going to see what happens next. So I can say that's what you guys want.
It's okay with what it is. Yeah,
it's fine. Like,
yeah, I think like Stu said, that level of acting, production, like just the money and then sheer money on screen, just like we mentioned with Mandalorian, is like head and shoulders above like
we're just putting it on this high pedestal. Like, I feel like we got to lower expectations for Winter Soldier and the Falcon, because every time the show comes out, we're like, it's gonna be amazing, and we gotta lower it, just like we're gonna lower it with Loki. And like every show, we're gonna lower the bar because we're losing our minds and be like.
But I don't think it's a fair comparison to the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian was 30 minutes. It was front to back. It was exactly what you were getting out of it. I know Andre didn't like it, but at least it was a complete episode, and it didn't feel like there was all this shit going. Like, wait, what about everything else? That's so 30 minutes of The Mandalorian was fine because you knew what you were getting from jump. Winter Soldier and Falcon, we know we're going to be getting from jump. We know it's going to be close to an hour, 6 episodes. That's it. Loki,
do we know it's an hour, because it's constantly switching back and forth?
But based on the trailers for Loki, you know what type of show you're getting. Yeah. The trailers for this show, it gave us something. We had no idea about the sword stuff originally. Yeah. But this is a long fucking show, man. So yes, I'm just looking forward to it being over and moving on.
I respectfully disagree with you on the fact that I want more like Andre. I think that they can elevate themselves to give an extra. They could push it to 42 minutes. Like, I'm fine with them having that extra conversation and having those dialogues. Yeah, no, but here's another thing too. Like, Monica, I have to say one thing about also the portrayal of Monica. With her, the actress's name, I forget what her name is. Something Paris. What's her name? She is fantastic in this show. I really like her character because she's one of those, I guess, the true superhero stories of like power thrust upon someone who didn't really want it. She's like her rationale is like Wanda. Her rationale is Wanda is in pain. I know how it feels. I need to help her. It wasn't like like her rationale behind why she's helpless, like, out of everything, it's at least flushed out. It makes sense. She's like, I know about loss. I lost my mom.
Yep.
I've been in there. I'm gonna help her. I'm a good person. Like, we're not here to make weapons. Like, her whole mindset and the way that she got the powers was earned in a sense of like, oh yeah, she's doing kind of like the whole the Bachelor. Like, why are you here? I'm here for the right reasons. Like, she's here for the right reasons. Her character is like, I'm pushing through, I'm gonna help, and then the offshoot is that now she has powers, which spectrum, like she can see, and I guess people haven't talked before, she can see the spectrum of the universe behind her.
That was cool.
So
that was really good.
To your point, Rob, like when she walked through, she heard Nick Fury, she heard her mom, and she heard Captain Marvel when she's like, when your mom had kids, like, you are nothing but trouble, like you're the best kid, and she pushed through, and there she is. Like, I'm interested to see where she goes, what powers will manifest, what happens next, because there's a lot of opportunity for her to grow and develop. And this is a good kind of superhero origin story for her, because she's proven she's capable. She's proven she's smart. She's proven that she can do stuff. And again, as much as I love Jimmy Woo and Darcy, like, she's the character that walking away from the show I'm the most interested to find out more about.
When we know she's in Captain Marvel too.
And we know she's in Captain Marvel too.
Yeah.
So like, we don't know, like, there's a lot of stuff right now because we don't know about Captain Marvel.
She gets an origin on TV, and now she's gonna jump to the movies. That's pretty cool.
And same with Ms. Marvel, right? She's gonna get the origin, so we don't have to go through the origin stuff. It's like, you just go here she is, ready to go, and here's some powers. And here's Carol Danvers. So, all right. Any other final thoughts before we go?
No, this episode here so far is longer than the Wandavision episode.
100%. Yeah.
And I bet you people are probably satisfied with this portion.
I don't know about that. We're gonna go. Okay, so we're gonna jump to, typically we would do an Andre segment, which is I Have Spoken, but apparently John has usurped it. So here is the new segment. Can someone just walk me through what we're supposed to be doing with John? You know where that's from, John? Do you know where that's from, John?
No.
That's your boy Tyrese when he's on the airplane flying in the air, and he goes to his boy before they got shushed out the window of the airplane. Is like, can someone just walk me through what we're supposed to be doing? And they get shot out the plane. So that is a quote from your boy. You
didn't do it loud enough and panicked enough.
That's a quote from Tyrese, Roman Pierce, before he got shot out the window. So John is going to give us his again, and he has to tell us what's going on. A recommendation of something from the comic world or fandom or an item or something that's really cool. So John, go for it.
Yeah. So I'm just here to quickly talk about the brand new Mcfarland figures we got in at the shop. So I don't have a fancy I've spoken like Andre, but I'll pop up some pics. So Mcfarland has been killing it lately. If you haven't been following the new DC stuff, I don't know if you guys see that now.
Yep. We can see it.
Yeah. So we've got the brand new DC Multiverse line. This wave includes this Red Sun Superman.
Can you make it bigger?
Can you? Those are thumbnails. Are you able to click on each individual picture?
We're old men, John. We can't see. We're squinting. It's really bad. I can't see anything.
Hold on. What the heck?
I'm really glad we tested this out beforehand.
Yeah, I thought you guys are seeing what I see. How about
we
now?
do see what you see, but you need it bigger.
No, we all we see is your folder.
Yeah,
we're seeing the
thumbnails. But we need
all right,
it
hold
bigger.
on a second.
We need it bigger.
You got to open them up and then share this.
How about this?
There we go.
Yeah,
All right, I'm not familiar with sharing on Zoom because we.
I thought it was really funny that the photo was called the picture tool, and I was like, how appropriate. But continue.
Yeah, yeah. So this is McFarlane's been releasing a lot of these figures. He's been doing the entire Batman Metal run, working with Greg Capullo, and now he's adding all kinds of different characters. So this is our Red Sun Superman. So we previously did have an infected Superman.
Nice.
Yeah, so you get a nice accessory. You get a flight stand with this, which is really cool. You get an extra set of hands. And you do get a little trading card, which is kind of cool. And then we've got a Batman death metal version in his leather kind of trench coat for you guys listening on the audio. He looks pretty cool. And then we do have Batman the Drowned, which is I think Batman combined with Aquaman from the bad guys from the whole metal line. And I think this is the final figure to complete that set. So.
Yep.
And then we have a Damian Wayne. So they don't do a lot of like children, like kind of the younger guys figures. So I want to say this is the second Damian Wayne figure we've seen. So DC directed release one in a 2-pack with Jonathan Kent. So this is the new kind of current one you can get. So
that's the longest sword in the history.
Yeah, he's got a funny sword. I think he gets that sword from Ra's al Ghul.
Yep, makes sense.
Some stuff.
Grandpa, makes sense.
Yeah, and then there is a new Bat Cycle. We're sold out right now, but we're going to get more. But this is a cool little accessory, and these are all pretty affordable. So the figures are about $26.99 for us, and this bike is only $29.99. So I just wanted to drop those. And those are like some fun new stuff we just got at the store. And there's a whole line of other ones. There's a Nightwing Red Hood 2-pack. There's a Cyborg from Teen Titans and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And Mcfarlane, yeah, he's also doing the Witcher series. I should have brought pictures of those, but yeah, we're getting a lot of fun toys. So that's something that speaks to me.
All right. Well, there we go. Thank you for that. It's great that I had to explain the whole segment to you, and there's a whole bunch of things that had to happen again. So that fits perfectly with the quotes. So thank you, John. So as we move forward,
good job, John. Don't listen.
Good job. As we move forward, we're going to talk about the next John Ho subject, which is Mortal Kombat. The Red Band trailer dropped on the interwebs the other day, immediately on our group chat. I think who dropped it? Rob dropped it, or was it John? Rob is on top of this. Rob dropped the trailer for Mortal Kombat in our group thread. We all watched it.
Among many other things.
I was laughing and giggling the entire time watching it as the absurdity of this trailer. But let's get, first and foremost, the person that cares the most about Mortal Kombat is John, so he's going to go last. So Andre, who, you're indifferent. You don't care about Mortal Kombat, right?
What are you talking about?
Oh, you care about Okay, wait. Rob, do you care about Mortal Kombat?
Whatever.
Rob you're
first. All right, Rob, you're first. The person who cares the most goes last. All right, Rob, what are your thoughts on that Mortal Kombat trailer?
Yeah, I thought the trailer was all right. Listen, excuse me. I think it's the best thing to do is release it as a red band. I mean, I think if you had a green band trailer, which is just a generalized trailer, people would be like, what the hell? The whole premise and notion behind Mortal Kombat are the fatalities. So at least you got to see some fatalities in the trailer. I think that was really cool. I think it looked great. It still feels weird to me. I gotta tell, like, I watched the original movie. I think I actually might have even gone to the theater to see it in '95. But it still feels like a like a low budget or a weirdly written movie. Like the delivery of the lines seems really bizarre to me. So I'm kind of, just to be very honest with you, I'm going to be going into it and being like, hey man, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. It is what it is. This is not an Oscar movie. It's not Top Gun. I don't know why I use Top Gun as a reference, but it's
Top Gun for the Oscar.
Top Gun's gonna get an Oscar nomination. Let's not forget that.
Oscar nod.
At least for like cinematography or something. Like, it's gonna be stupid. Yeah.
So it is what it is. I'm gonna go in and watch it. And the one thing I want to say though, and I apologize because I actually can't remember the character's name. The guy with like the 4 different arms. The big
Goro, yeah.
So online, somebody had posted a photo of 95 Goro versus the 2021 Goro. And I got to tell you, there's not a lot of difference between the two in how they actually looked visually. Like, I would have thought in almost 20 years difference, actually more than that, right? 24 years difference, that there would have been a really big jump in the CGI that nowadays Goro would have looked much better. But I don't know if that's a compliment to 95 CGI or a problem with the way Goro looks. The face and the body look very, very similar. There's obviously some aesthetics in terms of his belt and this and that. That's the new Goro. But I wish I had the photo, but if you just Google it online, you'll see there's not really a lot of difference between the two. So I thought that was really interesting, but not in like a oh. So anyways, whatever. Listen, it's coming out this year,
April.
In April. we may not be
HBO Max,
April
baby.
16th.
Okay, so that means in Canada we're looking at probably $25 or $30 rental. I won't rent it unless we're doing it for the show.
We will be doing it for the show. So here we go.
I'm not gonna rent it. No, I'll probably rent. I guess I'll have to, but it's not high on my priority. So whatever. It's gonna be on Amazon Prime by September. So let's just
okay. So that's the person on the lowest of totem poles. Andre, you're up next because John is the most hype on this bandwagon, as Mortal Kombat is his life. Life is Mortal Kombat. So Andre, what are your thoughts?
Mortal Kombat and Therese.
So yeah, like big really like the original 2 movies of Mortal Kombat, man. That first one, it that was a game changer when you were a kid. Like I still think that's probably one of the best video game adaptation movies. Like,
when was the last time you watched, Andre?
I think we did choose it as our best video game podcast a while back.
I'm not like it doesn't matter if it holds up to today, but back then, the feeling that we got, like, no, seriously, you were playing this video game.
Nostalgic, yes.
And then you got to see it on the screen, and you could tell that the people cared. Like, the people that made that movie liked the game. They weren't in it to change everything. You know what I mean? Sure, they couldn't do all the fatalities from the video game and stuff
PG-13,
like that. Especially Mortal Kombat 3 got crazy for those. But that first movie, I saw it in the theater, bought the soundtrack. I still own that thing on CD. That soundtrack was pure fire. You know, it's just hype music, man. It was so good. So seeing this trailer, you know, I got to say, like, right off the bat, I agree with Rob. You know, I'm glad they didn't try and give us like a couple of snippets of stuff and just not show it. But like, yeah, I gotta say, I get that same vibe that the people who are making this movie make it because they want to make it, and they want to do an adaptation that honors the source material. Of course, it's not going to be exactly the same story, but you know what I saw, like that first scene with Sub-Zero just grabbing the gun and it freezing it and then ripping Jax's arms off. Yeah, that didn't happen in the games or whatever in that way. That their origins are tied together. Yeah. But what a great way to tie it together. You know, love the actor who's playing Scorpion, like, just awesome. So like I said, just I'm super excited, especially that it's coming out in April. I didn't think we'd get this. Unlike Rob, I am probably going to update my internet package so I can stream this thing properly, and just day one I'm watching this. Like, it looks creative. That scene where Sub-Zero stamps the floor and creates the ice wall to slam Scorpion. Oh man, like that's what I want.
That's a move in the game.
I want to see them take things and adapt them. I don't want them to have an excuse for why you can't take something that's from the source material and not do it. I don't want them to be like, oh, we don't have the budget to make it look like the comic, or we don't have or the video game. Then why do it? Find a way to do it if you are going to adapt it, because those nuances, those things that make the game or the comic book or the video game special, you have to put that on the screen. If not, all intents and purposes, you're going to water it down, and the people are going to prefer the video game or the original source material no matter what. So I'm all in on board of it. I just wish that the trailer had a little bit more of a throwback to the original score and soundtrack. I know it did right at the end, and I know it's probably cheesy techno music now, but man, super hyped for that Mortal Kombat.
Andre, to be fair, that Mortal Kombat song is still played in arenas to this day. That is just like the Cha-Cha Slide.
Yeah.
When you get a song like that, and Rob is like, Cha-Cha Slide, I'm like, oh, you know the Cha-Cha Slide when they play in a basketball game. Clap your hands. And then everyone knows
Move
that
to the
little,
left.
like the 30-second like little thing. And when it is the end of a basketball game or end of a hockey game, and there's like a couple seconds left, the home team has to come on, they will play Mortal Kombat to get the crowd jazzed and to basically yell and scream and whatnot. For a decade or two, that was their go-to, like, this is what we got to do. I think now it's a little less, because when they scream Mortal Kombat, it's not everything they want to do, but it was a staple for arenas. And Rob knows from a production side, once you make something, you're not going to change it. Like, we're going to play this song and this little beat over and over, and we're not changing it.
The rest of eternity.
For the rest of eternity.
So good.
It's good. All right, John. You go for your thoughts. John's been Googling.
Sorry, give me a second. My audio just cut out.
John's been waiting. So,
the worst thing about this, though, while John's doing it, the worst thing about I have zero expectations, so I'm hoping it's going to be good. Here's my fear: is that it's good, like really good, and then people be like, "We have to now mine all these properties coming out next year." Killer Instinct, the video game movie. Like, that's all we're gonna need, right?
Rob,
Reboot Wing Commander.
They've been trying. They did Max Payne. That was a rough one. And they're doing Uncharted. So they've been trying to make video game movies forever now. It's just a matter of some work out and some don't. But Mortal Kombat is one of those.
The fighting game that is long forgotten.
Yeah, so Killer Instinct. That's not the one they want. We want the Clay Fighters, Rob. That's the one we want.
John, can you hear us?
Yeah. Sorry, my audio cut out. So I missed all of that.
That's fine.
So it looks good, right? We're good.
We're good.
That's it. That's your thought on it. It looks good. All right.
Okay. Yeah. So
cool. We'll go on. We'll move on. Okay. Great.
So, do you guys know if this is the same director that did that Mortal Kombat Legacy short they did a while back on YouTube?
Simon. I do not. I think it's a different person.
But yeah, I don't remember, because I remember they did this kind of like Mortal
Simon
Kombat
McQuaid, right?
Yeah. They did this Mortal Kombat in modern times, like little mini video, and it had Jerry Ryan in it. It had Michael J. White and all that kind of stuff, and it was like kind of bringing Mortal Kombat into current times. So I was pretty happy to get kind of like some vibes of that in this. Of course, I'm going to be extremely biased in this. You all know my boy Louis Tan is in this. He had been teasing so previously there was not a lot of information available for this movie, to my understanding, until I kind of unless you really searched. So he was always teasing that he's on set, he's filming stuff, and nobody knew who he was. So I was worried.
What is he in this movie, John? What is he still like?
He's an original character. So this Cole, I forgot what his last name is.
Cole Porter. He's a jazz player.
Cole Young. Yeah. Cole Young. He's a brand new character. So if you watch the trailer, there's also a new version of the trailer that has the director's commentary. So he wanted a new character.
Cole Young.
Yeah. You get to see through his eyes. So I was worried he was just some sensei character or maybe random ninja, and then he kind of disappears. But I'm very happy to see that he is potentially the lead of the film, even though he kind of disappears in the last half of the trailer. But maybe they don't want to reveal what's going on. And look at all the entire cast. If you look at the entire cast, all these kind of, I guess the term is people of color or whatever. This is a very
representation.
Yes. Yeah. So it's got me excited in that aspect. All the fatalities, they looked amazing. The guy Andre mentioned, I think his name is Hokori Sadana. I think he was in Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, and he's basically almost a real life samurai. So if you tap him to play Scorpion, and if you look at the Scorpion costume, it's got a lot of samurai elements in it. So that's cool. Sub-Zero, super dope. Like Andre said, that move that he throws you through the ice wall, that's one of his throws in the new.
John, are you biased because that Sub-Zero actor fought Tyrese in Fast and Furious? Is that a thing because you love him?
That
he fought Tyrese in Fast and Furious?
I forgot the name of his character. He whoops Tyrese and Sung Kang, your boy Sung Kang's ass.
Yeah.
In one of the best scenes in Fast and the Furious, where characters actually take a beating, and they're like, okay, we're just not gonna tell.
Is the name I think that they use for Sub-Zero.
We're not gonna tell anybody that happened, right? So that was one of the best Fast and Furious scenes, anyways. But yeah, just the entire cast. So I'm very happy Louis Tan is in this. He's a very accomplished martial artist, so I'm looking forward to what he sees.
But I do get concerned. I get concerned that you see a lot of these actors who have really great potential, and they unfortunately pick some projects that just don't, they'll sputter out. And so I'm not going to lie. I'm hopeful this movie is good. I'm hopeful he shines in it. We knew him from the Drunken Master in
the best part in Iron Fist.
Of Iron Fist season 1. He's only in it for 2 episodes. You're right, the best part. But then this is kind of what his next big follow-up. And we know he's going to be Snake Eyes in the standalone Snake Eyes movie.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Henry Goulding is.
Oh, sorry. But wait, what is
Henry Goulding? What? Wow, Rob.
No, he's not.
I see how it is.
Shut up. I thought Louis Tan was in another a well-known IP movie. Maybe it was.
He
just
was in Deadpool 2. Maybe that's what you're.
Yeah, I know. He was Shatterstar in Deadpool 2. All I'm saying is that I hope he picks the right projects. So I would hate to think he just kind of gets himself shoehorned into some of these B-list properties and doesn't, like that's all I'm just trying to say.
He's in John's favorite show, Wu Assassins. That's what he cares about. That's why Louis Tan is
he was the best part of that show. Sorry, no disrespect to Aiko, but he definitely shone in that show.
And Canadian Lindo Liu is in it, so he's a big character in this as I guess as Liu Kang. So these are things that are happening right now. But
so there's a lot of stuff going on. I am a little sad that Johnny Cage appears to not be in this.
It's fine.
So he's one of my mains, so it's sad. But I guess this new character, and I think it's kind of cool. You introduce a new character here, and I wonder if in the next game, this Cole Young character is going to become a part of the main cast. So I'm pretty excited overall for this.
They included Rambo, Terminator,
RoboCop.
Guess what? Yeah. They don't care anymore. They stopped caring a while ago. So now everyone is in this video game. So as long as the licensing is all good, you will be in this game. Because they motion captured Schwarzenegger and Stallone or whatever, and now they're in it. So if you want to be in a video game, cool, you got it. You can be Mortal Kombat. I do want to say, Rob, to your point, we are lucky that Louis Tang apparently was the front runner or one of the two deciding actors for Iron Fist, and we're all, I guess, very happy that he dodged that bullet because Iron Fist was not very good. So at least he's clean of that.
Yeah, but he might have made the show a hell of a lot better.
If Marvel's rebooting the whole thing, they can give him another chance to be like, you know what, we're going to reboot Iron Fist. Here you go. We're going to start again and actually get someone who knows martial arts to be in this movie. Or in this TV show. So we'll see. Nonetheless, I think we're all interested to see it on April the 16th, 2021. So that is soon. It will be interesting to watch that movie and get everyone's thoughts. We're gonna do some bets on who's gonna be the most disappointed after this podcast. So the odds are it's gonna be John. Okay, here we go. Odd favorites. Odds on favorite is John. Okay, so yeah. Nonetheless, I thought the trailer was good. Kano had some moments. I think they could only do so much comedy, so they gave all the fun lines to Kano. So that's it worked out. Kano was always underappreciated as the villain of the Mortal Kombat.
It's interesting. It looks like he's potentially on their team this round. If you don't know Mortal Kombat history, he actually, him and Sonya Blade have got history that he killed, persons or whatever on her
Sonya
team.
Blade's partner.
I wonder if they're going to tweak it.
I think they're probably going to leave it's still there, as in like they don't like each other, but they have to collectively come together in the Mortal Kombat tournament to.
Yeah, I'm fine with them tweaking it. Like the game came out like I don't know how many years ago. So you can.
And how many versions of the game are they up to? Mortal Kombat 10 or 11 or something?
Mortal Kombat X. I think they're up to 11. I think the current one.
Although I missed the old Shang Tsung, I'm not gonna lie. I think the new guy isn't. I don't care. Like he does. Like in my mind, Shang Tsung looks a certain way. And I just cast him again. Like Shang Tsung is ageless. Like he's in the Mortal Kombat game. Like they motion capture him. Like can you just get the same actor? Like does it matter? Like he doesn't really have to fight. He can just shape change and fight someone else. Like you don't have to do anything. I digress. Okay, so we're gonna jump off to some other news as we finish it off. Rumors have been circulating on Andre's favorite property, which is Star Wars Rebels. Andre, that would be his favorite of everything else on top of Clone Wars and its thoughts of everything else of the new generation of Star Wars. There are rumors based on, I think it's the Kessel Run Transmission website, that Mensa Mansood is Markham's own, is going to be cast as Ezra Bridger in the new Ahsoka TV show. Nothing's confirmed, but these are the rumors that are happening. So Rob... Yeah, of course, his main role, claim to fame, was that he was Aladdin. That's pretty much all we know. He hasn't done any work since, which really is kind of a red flag. He did one Canadian TV show, I think, since then, and he hasn't really acted anywhere else. But nonetheless, they're thinking of having him as Ezra Bridger. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think that there was a lot of controversy with this actor. I don't think that was his only role. I think he's done some voiceover work or whatever. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy in that, a lot of people quite enjoyed his portrayal in Aladdin and his work in it. And then about a year and a half ago, he came out and was like, listen, I'm only being offered stereotypical roles. Meanwhile, my more Caucasian co-workers in Aladdin are being offered a whole bunch of different roles, and I'm not even given an opportunity to even try out or audition for these. So he was really kind of bringing to the forefront, like there's obviously a disparity that's happening here. I'm happy that he's, being cast.
Considered, not by cast, but yeah.
Right, considered for this role. I've made no bones about it. Much to Andre's displeasure, dismay, and disappointment, I've never seen Rebels. It's just I have other things to do. So
like watch Highlander again. Why are you not watching the first episode of Rebels? This is ridiculous.
No, I did watch the first couple of episodes of Rebels with my son. We actually I think we may watch close to the first season. But at any rate, I'm happy if he's going to be getting some work, and people seem jazzed. Maybe not everybody on this panel, but people seem jazzed that he would at least be considered for this role, and are happy about it. So hey, sure, why not? Listen, I'm all for giving opportunity to individuals to be able to excel in their craft. He's a young guy. He's Canadian to boot, even though we don't actually say a boot. So I'm all for it. So yeah, sure. What the hell? That's all I really have about opinion about it. So,
John.
Yeah, I thought he was good in Aladdin. So I think he was in Jack Ryan, I think, as well, the Amazon show with John Krasinski. Like, he looks familiar. I forgot the character he played, but does this mean he's gonna sing?
Do you want
Rebels
him to sing?
live action gonna sing?
Do you want him to sing? He could
I want him
start
to
singing
sing
about the Force.
I want to sing one step at least. That's great, jumping off guys' heads.
I think there's a I don't think they
considered. Is he considered the lead for Rebels, or is it the Kanan character?
Kanan was the lead in that show, but it's an ensemble, and then that's how
I feel like he was very front and center in all the advertising, though. So
I would consider him the lead.
Not in the Ahsoka show, but in Rebels
in Rebels, the show definitely it's an ensemble, but it basically revolves around him and his home planet and stuff. And
is he an alien? Like, his design, like, if people aren't familiar,
he's just a regular humanoid
with the blue hair, and I thought he looked a little bit alien like, but that might be just an animated choice. But yeah, I don't know. I like giving these newcomers a chance, but I'm not super attached to this character, so.
You give two craps.
All right, well, there we go.
Andre started to rage up.
Listen, there's no rage here. Personally, I've never hidden, what I want from Star Wars and Rebels. I did watch this version of Aladdin, and I thought the whole cast did fine. Aladdin's a hard movie to follow up. I actually love the original animated. It's one of those things I wouldn't even touched it. I would I'm surprised Will Smith took the genie role, but the movie was cool. Like, I have zero problem with that, what I know from that actor, which is Aladdin. But my issue has been, and I think I've definitely said it before when we were talking Star Wars and Mandalorian and stuff, it's like, if you haven't watched Rebels and you like Star Wars and you like Mandalorian, you're going to watch Ahsoka, please watch Rebels. If you want to understand where my opinion and my desire to see things go, I think if watching Rebels helped that. Rebels was just a brilliant show, super well written. It fit the timeline. It didn't disturb much thing. It actually enhanced Star Wars. And the characters are fantastic. Rebels ends with one of the best epilogues that I've ever seen for any genre. And I'm almost 47 years old. My whole life, all I've read is comics, sci-fi novels, fantasy TV show. Like that's it. So there's a ton of this stuff that I've seen and consumed. And Rebels is the best. The best one with the most potential. My concern is, no matter who plays the part, I don't think anybody can play that part for me. I don't want to see Rebels unless it's animated again, right? And here's a question to the panel. Do you guys think that Rosario Dawson actually auditioned for the part of Ahsoka, or because she was basically fan cast and she tweeted about it, that she was the forerunner. And I think if that's the case, this person has been kind of mentioned before as playing Ezra Bridger, as with a couple other people kind of jokingly on Twitter saying, oh, I'd play that character, or I'd love to play that character and stuff like that. So I really, if it's a talent issue, yeah, I think he's talented. But like I said, for me,
Andre, to your point, I think, as we heard lots and lots of times through many musical documentaries and television documentaries, is that in entertainment, just in life, you work with people you like. You have a no a-hole policy, regardless of maybe the best actor in the world. If they're not a good person, you don't work with them. And Disney has a relationship with Rosario Dawson. She's worked with them on the Marvel stuff before. They know who she is. She is comfortable sitting in a chair for 6 hours getting makeup, and then they're like, you know what? We know who you are. You're comfortable doing this. This is a good relationship. Let's continue on with it. So right, a lot to do with like who you know in terms of like, are you like some of the greatest bands on the planet? There are better guitarists out there. There are better drummers. But you know why? They're in that band because they're a really good guy. Like maybe there's someone 5% better than them, but what does 5% mean? Like just get the good person you want to hang out with, Andre.
I agree.
So like even with the podcast, like I'm not the best person, but probably know someone who can do a job better than me.
But, I know what you're talking about.
But I'm a good guy, and you're like, I like Stu and I like Rob, and like this is what we want to do. So I'm sure there's always someone who is like everything in life better than us at something. You want to work with people you like, and a lot of the industry is about working with good people.
No, and
so I think that has a lot to do with that, right?
And that's
she's probably not the best thing, but also in the term of now, producers look at social media presence, how many people they have followers, what's their overall like positive vibe on it. So they look at it's like Rosario Dawson's loved. They like her in a lot of things. She doesn't really do negative things. Like she's not crazy on social media. They scrub probably everything, and you're like, you know what? She's a good person. She has a good social media following. This is a slam dunk, and we know we can work with her. Why not give her Ahsoka on a limited series? So, like, I think that's part of a lot of it now.
So, yeah, I'm just saying that I think there's, like you said, I think casting is a very complicated choice, especially for live action. But like I said, no matter what, and this was, again, if you guys remember in the podcast, this was my fear for what was going to happen a la Mandalorian and Ahsoka. Is like now they're gonna, if they're bringing him in, and we don't know, it's a big if, and I'm not saying they're going to ruin the story at all, but my heart of heart tells me that Filoni would have had a different story, and he had a really good team of writers throughout Clone Wars and the ones that came over to Rebels, and I think that story that he had in his mind will definitely have to change in order to fit on the TV screen,
100%
live action instead of the cartoon. And you and I have talked about those differences many times too. And I think, unfortunately, I'll never really get that vision of the story. And I just really, I truly love Rebels and what they built. And I can, without being 100% sure, I'm probably 99.7% sure that if you asked Filoni how he wants to end that story or to cap off that story, I don't think he says I want to do live action. That's not his stick. Like he's always said, or he said in the past that it's the animation. That's what he was, comfortable with, built up. Not saying, hey, maybe he could change. Maybe Mandalorian changed. He's like, yeah, I enjoy working on it. But there's just some people in their craft, especially comic creators, that go on to storyboard movies and stuff. They sometimes always come back to comics because they're like, yeah, this is what I'm most comfortable with. This is what I have the most control over and stuff. So I don't want to, poo-poo the project and stuff. I will watch it because it's Filoni. But like I said, in my heart of hearts, if you said, I would just have loved to have seen it end that way.
But I think we talked about it numerous times, Andre. There is a difference when cartoons, and a lot of adults, including one of them on this podcast, who are like, it's a cartoon, no dice, but they'll watch live action. So it's just like, what do you care about? Like, do you want people to watch the material and whatnot? And like, I never dispute how much I love Rebels and what the story can do, but at the end of the day, it's like, what do people look at right now? And there's legitimacy in terms of live action that cartoons have not gotten to. And there's a reason why you have to brand a cartoon Japanese show as anime and not a cartoon, because if you say anime, that's acceptable. You say cartoon, it's like, well, that's Cartoon Network. Like, that's for little kids.
Yeah, but I do think cartoons,
so
and with Disney and Pixar, they're the ones that are pushing cartoons. Like, a lot of people are like didn't that Moana do really, really well for The Rock and stuff like that? Like a lot
but that's
more
for little
people...
kids, right? But it's not. Star Wars is not for little kids, so therefore, like, in terms of like what they want to do,
there's adults who do watch these cartoons with their kids, or if it's Pixar, you definitely bridge the gap. There's that new Disney movie that looks really good. I might even check that out when it comes on Plus. I can't remember. It's something in the Dragon.
Aria or
yeah. You know, that looks super cool. You know, so I think if there was a Star Wars cartoon that could be put on the screen, the silver screen, or you do a 2-hour movie, it definitely could be Rebels, because Clone Wars kicked off with an animated. But
they have the
movie.
Numbers, Andre, because if the numbers were there and people were watching it, they would do it. Just no one's watching the cartoons, clearly, because
I don't know.
You know, if you look at Netflix, the viewership of Young Justice led to another season of Young Justice. It was the fan sport, and people were just watching like crazy on Netflix. Basically, like, we're going to do another season. Clearly, they have the analytics, and they're like, no one cares about the cartoon of this. And we're going to go a different direction.
Buzz on cartoons and all those shows, and it's not a disrespect, Andre, that there are people like you who are just very dedicated to watching. They love that source material in the cartoons. Many people believe that Batman the Animated Series was the best version of Batman there ever was. They released one movie in theaters in animated form, which is Mask of the Phantasm. It bombed. It didn't generate the amount of money based on the buzz that the animated series got, and that was it. That's why you've never seen another Batman animated series released in theaters, right? That's just the reality. So I get it. It's an impossible mountain for anybody to climb that you've built, because that's your thing. That's your love. And nobody, regardless of who the actor is, even if it's your favorite actor, they're never going to appease stepping into the character that you've invested and you love so much. But you are unfortunately on the outside.
Yep.
Of the general populace, right? So for someone like me, I've never seen the show. Whatever, I'll watch the live action version, and maybe that will
do a different medium, right? Like if Lost had a finale and it was in animated, you switch the medium. It's like impossible.
Well,
right?
Here's the thing. Like, yeah, John. Here's the thing. There has been on Rob's point. There's been much more precedent of a TV show. That's the joke. 6 seasons in a movie and live action than there is for animation. Like, you know, Sex and the City got a movie. It made a lot of money. Like, if you look at a bunch of TV shows that converted into movies, it happens more so. And that's what the investors and what people care about more than anything else. It's like, we can name a bunch of TV shows that got turned into a movie and it works. Like, it just makes money. So it'll never do a cartoon. It'll never work, unfortunately, just because it'll take maybe a couple more generations for that to happen. But right now, it doesn't seem like that's the thing. But if we get more stories with Ezra and Sabine and whatnot, it's better than no stories about them, because it wasn't going to happen before, right? Like,
I don't know. You know what?
It doesn't take away though from the source material. You'll always have that.
Oh no,
right?
I'll always have Rebels for sure. But I do think that we do not know if we were never going to get that story, because I have the Rebels Blu-rays, and on the last season he talks about it, and he's like, I'm working on that story, and he's like, when I'm ready to tell it, I'll do it. Now, of course, that's just commentary. Of course, he has plans and ideas jotted down. Any writer would, you know. So we never know if we were going to get it. But and I've said this about The Mandalorian, I just feel that they've mined the best thing that Star Wars has done, which was Rebels, and they're using that as their springboard. And now they've co-opted that stuff. And again, maybe they will put everything, maybe Filoni will get to put everything that he's wanted into the Ahsoka show, but I don't know if that'll get the budget that The Mandalorian would, because that's the one that everybody loves. So if Ahsoka comes out,
I think, you know, based on
what if there's a budget constraint and now we can't do Ezra using the Force and Ahsoka using the Force? Like,
Andre, I think at the end of the day, I think that was still, Mandalorian was like over $150 million, $160 million budget. Like, at the end of the day, even with that budget, it's not enough to do cartoons, because cartoons is cheaper and you can do more stuff, and you don't have to pay for union costs and PPE and all the stuff. Like, it just intrinsically, cartoons are cheaper regardless of what you do. You can do more with less. So we're never gonna get the same thing, but let's see what happens. Maybe they'll spend a ton of money, but to your point, even if they spent $300 million, it will still not look as good as a cartoon in terms of what they can do with a cartoon budget. Cartoons can do more.
I can dream.
Yeah, you can dream.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, we'll see what happens. I think there's lots of opportunities. And yes, Filoni could have said, but maybe it would have been 10 years down the line where he's like, I still don't know the story. It's going to take me time to figure out. And he, in passing said, I have something in mind, but maybe it wasn't also something he could flush out fully into a series. Maybe it was just a half-baked idea or like a one season off, like in Clone Wars. So we don't know until what happens. Same as when I make the joke all the time with my buddy about Dungeons and Dragons. I watched that movie, and in the audio commentary, the writers are like, "This is part of our trilogy. Like, we're going to talk about this movie and how this is leading to 2 more movies." And they talk through the whole commentary about how this is just the start of this Dungeons and Dragons trilogy. And guess what? They never got a second one because the movie was so bad. So you kind of, to your point, as much as you can talk about something big down the line, you got to lay your best foot forward and do the best stuff you have, because if we've talked about this numerous times in the podcast, if you only give us halvesies and don't give us enough to get us going, then we're done, right? We're not going forward. So, okay. Jumping off to, we have 2 more things to go, and wow, this is going long. But Supergirl announcement was made the other day on a nice, fun, I guess it was on some sort of social media thread.
Instagram.
Andy, and I'm going to butcher the last name. Rob, I think you say it better than I do.
It's Muschietti, the director of the Flash movie, did a video with Colombian actress Sasha Calle, and basically told us that she's going to be Supergirl. So this is a little divergent from Supergirls in the past, because typically they have a certain look. This is, of course, pivoting because Cyborg is probably not going to be in this movie anymore. It was going to be a Cyborg Flash buddy cop thing, and now they're changing it up. So, Rob, what are your thoughts on this? Yeah, first of all, this thing went like wildfire on social media, and I think it wasn't necessarily because of the casting. I think it was the way it was done. I said this in our group chat. I said, if the director is setting the tone of the production that he wants based on this, it's like, it's going to be, I think it's going to be very heartwarming and good set to be on. And that would then translate into people really giving all their, everything they have to make this movie great. That's obviously the grand scheme when you're putting it into this, how he set it up. I mean, this is a young actress who, she's been on a soap, Days of Our Lives. I think she was nominated for a daytime Emmy. Young and the Restless, sorry. She was nominated for a daytime Emmy. But to see her be told, I mean, in this new day and age, everything's through Zoom, and being told that she's gotten the part and the way, and he's like, I have some more questions for you. You know how it is. Just, yeah, sure, hit me. And she's going crazy. She just wants to know, am I going to get it? I mean, who knows how long ago she auditioned for this thing, right? It could have been months and months and months. And then to bring out the Superman suit, and obviously then he cuts in the John Williams score, right? Like the Krypton score. And it just, man, it brings you all the feels. It makes you just see, and you see her break down out of pure joy. And in this crazy, stupid, shitty ass world in which everything is like upside down, twisty, curvy, and we're all like kind of like grasping on the edge of our fingernails at times, to see somebody have her dream realized, and to be like, there was no better moment this week, maybe even for this entire month, of seeing that realization come. So I've watched that clip. It's only 2 minutes. I've watched it hundreds of times. I love it. And in terms of her portraying Supergirl, we don't know which version of Supergirl she'll be portraying, but I'm all for it. I mean, hey, what the hell? I mean, she's had so far Melissa Benoist, sorry, has given big thumbs up. The other girl who played Supergirl in Smallville, she's given her thumbs up. So obviously we're just waiting for Helen Slater. But I think it's great. I'm excited for it. People are like, but she's not blonde. Man, piss off, man. Who gives a shit? Like, nobody ever said Supergirl had to be blonde. I don't give a crap. So I hope they don't dye her hair. I hope they actually keep her as the brunette and have at her. So I'm all excited for it. I'm excited to see what this movie is going to be. So
John, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's cool that we kind of get to see this little window of the life of like an actor or actress. And if you haven't heard it, Michael Rosenbaum did an interview with Katie Sackhoff, and she talks about how she got the actual live action Bo-Katan part, and it's a really cool story. So it's kind of neat to see that these actors and actresses are people too, and some of them are excited for these types of roles. And like Rob said, I don't really have any attachment to the Supergirl character, so if she goes just as she appeared in the video, I'm fine with that. But you know, I'm not a fan of this character per se. So, but I like that we kind of get to see a little bit behind this curtain, and we want to know that the people playing these parts generally want these parts and are excited for it, and will give it their all. Like we talked about Batwoman the other week. If you follow Javicia's Instagram and stuff, she's very excited to have that opportunity. So it's cool to see that. So that's all I could say about it.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, John. Andre?
Yeah, I thought, as Rob said, that the video was definitely, touching and stuff, and you did get a genuine feel, that she's excited. So yeah, let's hope it translates. On the look of the character, I hope they don't change her hair and stuff like that, because I hate to bring it up, but it's bringing me back instantly to thinking of who's the girl who played Sue Storm, and they dyed her hair. Jessica Alba.
Oh, right.
And they dyed her hair blonde, and it just didn't look right,
Yeah,
so I hope
agree.
that, hey, if you've chosen this actress, it's because she's got her audition was the best. It doesn't matter. Don't put her in a blonde wig. Like, she just doesn't have the complexion, and
to be fair,
dark brown eyes. She's a very, very good looking person.
Yeah.
And I think, looking at the cast and stuff, I think she will fit the cast. I will swing and pivot. Rob brought up a good point. I didn't even think about that. That, yeah, maybe Cyborg's out of this movie.
He is.
Stuff. Definitely, yeah. Right. But it doesn't make. I'm still very apprehensive about the breadth and the scope of this particular movie. And if you're throwing in a new character in Supergirl, where you now have to explain her origin, and then you're bringing in, old Batman and Ben Affleck Batman and different Flash, yeah. and all of this stuff, I just really feel that this movie might still be too much, and who knows when the hell this movie's even coming out.
Yep.
So they've got time, I guess, to make something good. I guess I'll just say that this announcement, while I'm excited for that person to get the part, it does not build any excitement for me to go see this movie, if and when it ever comes out.
Yeah, my understanding is that they start filming really soon. I think it's in the next couple of months, and it's supposed to be April 2022 when this thing comes out. April or July, I think. So yeah, we'll see. I agree with you, Andre. I think this is going to be the launching pad for a Supergirl movie, right? Yeah. So hey, listen, here's reality. We're going to be getting a Flash movie where the worst actor is going to be Ezra Miller in the Flash movie. So
what would get me excited is if they recast him. He goes through the Flashpoint and he comes back out as Grant Gustafson or
I think Grant Gustafson's ready to hang up that suit soon. Like, I think he's done it enough. He wants to do something other. Like, he's probably put more miles on that costume than any other actor. So
for sure.
Even Stephen Amell's like, yeah, I'm good with superheroes. Like, I've done it enough. Yeah. Like, the regimen of exercise and stuff you have to do, like not being able to eat what you want and do it, or it's just like after a while you're like, I'm good. Like, I'm cool. But yeah, to your point, I actually don't mind her being blonde, Andre, if that's her alter ego. Like, she was blonde and then she took off the blonde to be brunette Supergirl. Sure. Like, that's the reason why she goes back to color, because I think in the Helen Slater movie, didn't she wear a wig to change her color when she wasn't Supergirl, or was she always just blonde?
Yeah, she's always blonde.
Yeah. So I don't mind if they do the hair coloring just as her alter ego, and then kind of like some other Supergirl, or I guess Batwoman does it, right? Where she switches hair color.
Yeah, because she's got the red wig.
The red wig. Yeah. So that's maybe I don't mind that change because she has to hide her identity. So cool. Yeah, we're all interested to see what happens. Frankly, whether it's Shazam and they included like 10 actors and actresses in that movie, and I'm like, okay, like everyone's just now like Marvel's. We're just gonna just add people and see what's gonna happen. So yeah, we will cross our fingers and see what happens next. Okay, so last thing, Todd Mcfarlane in his bunker, wherever it was. It's definitely not in Edmonton. In Arizona, I guess that's where he lives now, or Phoenix or whatever he is. Did the video of a madman going through all the cool stuff that he is doing with Mcfarlane. And on our last topic, we'll talk about a lot of different things he's doing. He has talked about, just like everyone else, whether it's the Dark Cinematic Universe, the DC Cinematic Universe, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, creating a larger universe for Spawn. So creating this universe that he is going to add some more monthly comic book titles. What are your general thoughts on this larger Spawn universe, Mr. Cadet?
Listen, I'm going to show you something here.
You got Spawn number 1.
I've got a spot because I'm not sure. They only made a few million of these, so I feel like I might have 1.3498 million copy here. And I have the Spawn DVD because and I paid a lot of money for this so we could review it for our show. I watched the Spawn cartoon on HBO many years ago and I loved it. This man, first of all, the video production was horrible. Like, I never want to, I've always wanted to try to be positive. Like, I don't want to shit on people's creativity because the 3 of us or 4 of us, we're all creators in when we're doing this. We're creating something. Maybe people don't like it, and that's fine. I try not to be negative. I felt though like Todd Mcfarlane is not he's not in the same income bracket that we are. That guy could have had a really nice production.
Let's not forget he burned a lot of money on baseballs. Like, he lost a lot of money on those Barry Bonds baseballs. So maybe that's all he can afford now.
But this whole notion of the Spawn universe, like, everything just looked really wacky. It looked cheap. Like the stock, the graphic he was using for the lettering and the font. You have Gunslinger Spawn, and you have Medieval Spawn, you have Spawn, and then you have the Redeemer, who is the only person who has a different name. And I'm cool. Like, I was just like, man, like, if you're expanding out your universe, yet everybody has got hyphen Spawn, like, I just whatever, man.
Venom
like,
and Carnage.
What's that?
Yeah, but at least it's Venom and Carnage. It's not Venom symbiote and Carnage.
But all the
symbiote.
Venom, there's a whole Venom thing going on now. So
they're all symbiotes, and they all have stupid names like Siren and I can't even think of it.
Andre, we loved it in Maximum Carnage. We ate that stuff up. So that was a different time. That was the 90s.
Yeah, like they're.
I just don't. I really, honestly, I'm happy if Todd, this is his thing. There's a lot of great creators who are going to be involved in this in some capacity or other. I just felt like I really couldn't care less. Like, you're not building a universe. You're just adding 3 extra titles a month with a character with the name Spawn in it. And what is it? What else are you like? And you're saying, we're bringing back Violator, and we're having all of our villains will be involved, but that's not a universe. You're just bringing everybody together like a crossover. So I don't know. I couldn't give 2 shits. I was
so the definitive storyline of Spawn is pretty much cross that off. We're restarting from scratch. That's pretty much he's like, we're gonna start again.
Well, there's still the main title will still continue to run.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going to go up to 3. What it's still in its legacy numbering, but it just whatever, man. I mean, it's this type of quality. That's how I felt about the whole announcement. I was like, whatever,
man. We need a window shattering effect.
Yeah. John, your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think it's really cool. Todd McFarlane has been making a lot of kind of like moves lately. So like his toy line, picking up the DC toy line, huge deal. All the action figures he's putting out. Spawn is on issue 315 is the one coming out. Going to be a big deal issue, new character showing up. And I checked back in recently with the series, and it has kind of carved out its own little niche of like a horror with the superhero element. So his point was that
horror and religious.
You're only coming in once a month for a Spawn issue. So to introduce 3 more titles, he's going to have you in every week, which as a retailer for us, if you're a Spawn fan, that's cool. And he would actually, even for his regular Spawn comic, he would release a regular version in color. And then he would also have like a black and white kind of like with blood and sepia tones, which was a really kind of creative thing. And I don't know if this is a hot take or not, Me being like I guess a youngerish comic reader, Todd McFarlane and his crew of Jim Lee and all those guys from Image, they're more to me like Stan Lee is to like the older creators, right? So Spawn and all these characters he created, I guess Todd McFarlane is the next closest thing we have to a Stan Lee living Stan Lee like.
Wait, hang on. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created a multiple characters.
But I'm saying
I'm missing his point. He's saying for a younger generation, a guy like Todd McFarlane, collectors could buy their books, meaning John could walk into a store and buy Spawn by McFarlane. He could buy Spider-Man by McFarlane. He could buy X-Men by Jim Lee. No young reader who has pocket money can go in and give me a Jack Kirby Fantastic Four, please.
Yeah, I'm saying like he's not like a creative, like, but he's a personality of I feel that level for a later generation. He mentions during the video that if you're under the age of 25 or something like that, you never have an opportunity to buy a Spawn #1. So that's why he's trying to, like, so no one, like some of these kids have never seen that. So I think it's a really cool move. And like the creators he announced, shout outs to Mike Del Mondo. Hopefully he's doing some really good stuff. His style's going to fit right in there. I saw out like one of our questions was maybe like, who do you want to see on it? And I saw Donny Cates' name pop up. So I'm like, all right, the guy that I wanted to see on a Spawn book. And he's concluding his Venom run as of this whole King in Black thing, and Spawn just suits exactly what he was doing with Venom. So if he goes over to Venom, and then I also saw Sean Murphy on that list, so that's insane. And he's just bringing back all his David Finch, all these kind of old school guys that were the era that
Mark Silvestri
that I got into comics are going to be on board for this. This is kind of like a big deal for me. And then his even at the end, he teaches what's coming up in the action figures. Like so the Spawn Kickstarter action figure is en route now. Those are starting to ship. He's going to do, I think Violator is coming up, and I think he's going to do Medieval Spawn, and I'm sure the Gunslinger and all that stuff is next. So I think this is I think it's really cool, and it's a definite step. Like he's Spawn is 300 something issues in. Like that's crazy that he's only feels like he's only kickstarting
now is doing the angle of collectors. It's not like he's going on this angle of like the toys are amazing. Like I'm not disrespecting. I think the toys, he's made his name based on toys in the last 2 decades than he has actually in comic books, and the comic books are fine. But like really what you're doing is, like you mentioned, like, oh, these McFarlane toys. Like that's what I know him for now than I know him for anything else.
But
his
the
Spider-Man covers he did. Like that's
it's actually been pretty solid. Like the last I don't know how far back we would track it. It's actually been a pretty solid book, and it literally is only coming out once a month. So that might be why it's not getting any traction. Whereas every other company, every other book has exploded into like a million other things. So it's kind of I think it'll be interesting
when you continue to do multiple things, right? Like Spawn, if it comes up monthly and it's good, compared to I have to now stretch out and do 4 different books. And then I know you guys from a retailer, it seems like a great idea, but it's not a great idea when you buy 4 comics and then they're sitting there because no one wants them either. So it's going to be a very trick or treat situation where it's from from your side, you don't know how many to buy. Like maybe you buy a lot of the first book, and then after that, you're like, well, what do I buy? How many Spawn books do I buy? I know the ones that are happening right now, like, you know how many to buy. But then you get the situation where he goes to 4, then 5, then 6. And then you guys sit there like, we don't want to buy all these Spawn comic books. Is it worth it? We can buy the toys because the toys we can get rid of. But can you get rid of Spawn?
It's going to be a game changer because he's done miniseries. He hasn't done any like more ongoings like this. So it is going to be an interesting situation. But I think it's cool that he is taking this step.
Yeah, listen, but the dichotomy of who McFarlane is as this toy magnate is like the polar opposite of how he's running the comic, and so that's where I guess I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I'm all for world building and building a universe and everything else. I understand that your new characters are going to be somewhat derivative of the main Spawn, but I don't know. It just seems you're really blazing a path with your toy division, and you're expanding, and you're so creative. And I just don't feel like that's the same output.
Well, to be fair, Rob.
So I don't know. It just,
if new writers come into this and are able to extend the universe, like McFarlane allowed, a creator to come in and create Angela and do different things with the book. It's awesome. Unfortunately for him, is that he lost Angela, and now Angela belongs to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So like, it's kind of those things, like one of the coolest characters in Spawn, looks the coolest, who is the coolest, doesn't even belong to him anymore. So, you know, he got compensated, I guess, but nonetheless, it's kind of those things where you'll never see Angela again. So then you kind of lose. I see what you're saying.
In that movie.
Yeah. But you kind of lose one of the cool characters outside of Spawn. But Andre, what are your general thoughts on this?
All right. So first of all, I got to rebut Rob a little bit, because I think that if you don't follow McFarlane, you're missing a lot of the nuance of who he is. We just talked about people being genuine with that reveal. When Todd reveals his figures, it's like you and I. He's an average dude. Like, yes, he might be a millionaire, but he sets up his camera and he busts out those toys and he shows you the toys. He shows you what he's working on, you know. And in a way, he speaks to the fan as an every person. He's not going to go and get a big camera set up, and maybe that's what you wanted for this reveal. But I literally saw a guy in that video being excited to expand what he's built over the past 20, almost 30 years. All right. So this is a big deal. Why is this a big deal? Because like he said, there has not been a Spawn #1 in a long time. And now he's going to take a lot of characters that he's already created that have existed in his Spawn book or in Spawn limited series, and now they're going to branch out into what is going to be, I would probably hope it ends up being a little bit like, you know, Superman back in the 90s, where there's a book a week. So if you're excited about this, you're getting not only your Spawn fix, but you are also seeing like different versions of Spawns throughout the ages. And again, this is huge because as John said, Spawn has been gaining steam ever since issue 300. Okay. He's the only guy out of Image to reach that number of a book. Now, Savage Dragon is still coming out, but I don't think Savage Dragon is selling 1,000 copies. Okay. No. Like we could probably look it up, but McFarlane has been.
I missed the cartoon.
He's a mover. Like, yes, he's writing or co-writing the book. He's been for the last year putting on different creative teams. Like we had Ken Lashley, you know, our own friend, doing a Spawn book with Gunslinger Spawn. That book went to second printing quicker than I could finish eating a peanut butter sandwich. You know what I mean? Like that thing just went.
You are a slow.
And Andre can eat pretty quick.
No, I can eat pretty quick, man. You know,
you roll it, and then.
So it's, and I love peanut butter. That's why I put that reference. So peanut butter toast, love it. But yeah, that book went to second print. He's brought in other great creators, like a couple, maybe more than a couple, but he brought on a friend of mine, John Boy Myers, and Paul Jenkins reinvented Spawn, a new vision. He's always been doing, he has been world building this whole time. You mentioned Angela, medieval Spawn. How cool was that first different version? And then we have seen different versions of the characters through the ages. So myself watching this as a retailer, like this is, I had chills for young Andre again, like John buying that book. I remember buying his Spider-Man #1 and waiting at the CNE to meet him. Super nice. Like he's a super nice, genuine guy. I'm happy he's in this position. Now to rebut Stu a little bit, is this too much Spawn? No, because if you look at the creators he's lining up, this isn't McFarlane going to write all 4 Spawn books and try and ink them. He's tapped the biggest and best names. Now, he hasn't given us any direct, like, hey, when and who is writing. But again, I'm excited to see he's got Spawn the Scorched, which is a team book. Listen, if there's going to be anything that's going to be like gratuitous violence with guns, swords, knives, and magic, that is going to be right up some people's alley. Gunslinger Spawn, the first appearance of that guy is a couple hundreds of dollars. That's going to be cool. Spawn in a Western, not very many Western books on the market right now, especially something that can go that horror bend, right? So there's some creativity here. But like I said, like any creator that we wanted to see or tap, they're practically on this lineup. So yeah, could he have done a whole big fancy hullabaloo production? But I think something speaks on he wanted to get this out. He wanted to be the one that announced it, right? Like again, shout outs to our boy Mike Del Mundo. You know, like he's been chirping at us. He's like, oh, I can't wait to tell you guys something. I'm working on something. And he couldn't tell us, and then boom, like he reveals this. This is great. Like, you know, Spawn created by Mcfarlane, who's Canadian. We had Mike Del Mundo on this, another Canadian, our local guy, and then our friend Ken Lashley. So for us and for me, I guess maybe I'm excited more for this personal connection that I can feel to this. And a good friend of mine, John Boy Myers, worked on the book. And then again, hearing these stories of these guys working with Mcfarlane and stuff like that, you know, he sounds like a guy who just wants the best for his creation. And partly, I think he realizes that the best for Spawn and the universe and people collecting it right now is other creators working with his vision, because he knows he can't draw the whole book. He'll do a cover, like John said, right? And he's going to do co-writing ops and maybe some inking, but he can't put and draw an issue and run his business and design these action figures and all this. So again, kudos to a guy, like I said, the only guy out of Image left of the original founders who's got that long running series and is going to be breaking out and doing these other books, regardless if they only last a year or whatever. At least he's taken the time to do it. And I do believe from seeing that he has a plan. And listen, as John can attest, and with myself as retailers, there's nothing I hate more than creators coming on and spewing a whole bunch of stuff. This is where my series is going to go, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 issues in, the series canceled from Image and we never see it. And I've sold it to Rob, I've sold it to Stu, I've sold it to all these customers, and then the thing never gets fleshed out. I can tell you that's probably not going to happen with this. Whatever he's, you know, planned now, I'm sure we're going to get it. Maybe we don't get absolutely all of those creators he said to be on it, but I do think, like you said, I'm in talks with these people. They want to do something. This person gave me an idea. He's going to get credited. So again, we might not see a full
some of them might just be
Sean
covers.
Murphy.
All those artists, they might
see
just
a design on something, you know, and that's just cool, because again, like John said, there's a bunch of guys who are going to be 20, 25, 30 who grew up on Spawn. And Mike Del Mundo, he put it best. He's like, man, this is a dream come true. As a kid, who would have thought you could have gotten to work on Spawn? Right? Like this
just wasn't my thing.
So I think this is a big thing. I'm excited for it. I don't know how many we're going to order, Stu, but hopefully we'll be back open and ready for business. And people can come in and maybe somebody says, hey, I don't know too much about Spawn. Yeah, let me grab this Spawn Universe one shot. And hey, I really like this she Spawn character. What book is she in? Oh, hey, that's coming out in 2 weeks. Cool, put me down for that. You know, so I got
number ones are not the problem. To your point, I think Andre, you said it eloquently. It's a year out. I think the number one drops are for Image. They're the highest resale value because they limit the amount of prints. They're not like what Rob mentioned where they do 1 million anymore. They do way less. So if you
they do what's ordered, right?
They do what's ordered.
And then they will second print and stuff like that, right?
But if you want a first print or whatever, at least there's a little. You could make back your money if you just want to buy the first round books. It's just to your point. It's 6 months from now whether the book exists, whether it's issue 3 that before they cancel it. So let's hope that this continues on. I have no qualms that the first books of all these will look like fire because they have to put their best foot forward, as Rob meant. So that it's your pilot, it's your number one. If you can't hook people on book 1 after book 1, then it's over. So we'll see what happens. And I get what you're saying. You do see the excitement from Todd Mcfarlane in that video. It does feels like one of his kids is filming it via shaky cam. Like it's like, hey, here's your allowance for the week. Can you film me while I talk about Spawn? So, that's the case. But hey, the fact that there are, there's another player in town is exciting to hear, because again, it's the more competition, the better there is for all the artists and writers, because again, when there's only 2, they really can control everything you do and make your life difficult. So I'm glad that, he's giving other opportunities, and whether Image hopefully, continues to grow and develop, because again, Disney and Warner Brothers owns everything now. So let's see what happens. So as we approach the end, I want to do one quick shout out to Mrs. Barltrop for taking me to Mortal Kombat. As Andre said, I've been waiting a long time. She took me and Mike Barltrop to watch Mortal Kombat. I've said it numerous times. She was a trooper. We were not of age, but she sat through the entire movie. So God bless you for taking me and Mike. I don't know who else was with us. I think there was someone else. I forget who, but took us to watch it. And then she just was like, the whole time you could see she was probably like, oh my goodness. And at the end, she didn't complain. She's like, oh yeah, it was an interesting movie. Like, again, like, I'm sure that's gonna be Rob one of these days when he takes his kids to watch a movie where he's like, oh, we want to watch this movie, Dad. And you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take you and your goober friend to watch a movie. Fine, let's go and we'll see what it is, whether it's some sort of princess movie that's or romantic comedy that's PG-13. Rob is looking forward to that in the future. So here we go. John and Andre, where can they find you guys more on the internet?
Yeah, so social medias as usual, Heroes World Online, Instagram and Facebook. On the YouTube Heroes World Online, please give us a subscribe and like. And our new website is finally up and running, heroesworld.ca. So you can pop around there, check. We're still adding stuff like every day as we can. And if there's specific stuff you want to see, like if you want to see certain sections of the store added faster or sooner, then definitely shoot us a message and we'll try and get to those items a little quicker.
Andre?
Yeah, and as of tomorrow, York region is out of what is the anyways,
you're
we're
in
allowed
red
to
zone
You're
now.
in
We're
lockdown.
back
You're
in the
going
red
into
zone.
the
We're
red
not
zone.
in gray. Don't you
red.
think that
Red
red
zone.
seems worse than gray? Anyways,
Yes.
forget the color coding. We're allowed
Uncle
to be
Doug
open,
just doing things.
So
Yeah.
we're getting the store ready. Looking forward to seeing you guys. But we're gonna have to follow definitely all the social distancing measures.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna put a cap on the store. So look onto our social media for that, for when we're going to open and how many people we're going to have in the store. So it's probably only going to be maybe 3 people at a time. Again, we don't want to see these cases or anything rise and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully if you've been dying to come and see us, grab your mask, your hand sanitizer, and your gloves. Give us a call and come on by. So we'll be back open next week.
Yeah, typically I think the stores are doing it where if you are a family pod, like if you are a 4-member family all living together, they usually allow you to come in because you're all living together. But if it's randos, it's like, okay, well, if you're separate families, we're only going to allow 4 of you total separate families. So I think it's all dependent on like if it's a parent with 2 kids or a mom and dad with 2 kids, typically they're like, well, that's part of one unit. So we're okay with having all of them in, as opposed to 3 separate people. Because if they're all living together, either they all have it anyways. So it is, but again, be free to follow each rule differently. As I've talked to some other retailers, and that's kind of the way they're looking at it. It's like, if you're a family pod of like 3 to 4, it's like they can all come in. And then if you're individuals, they're more strict on like, if you're a single random, and then how many they're allowed to come in. But yeah, so please go to the store website, Heroes World, or if you still want to buy stuff from the store, sales at heroesworld at gmail.com, that you can go still probably do curbside pickup and whatnot if you're not comfortable going to the store. So please connect with John and Andre. All their stuff is on Instagram. If you're unsure of the measures, message them directly and they can sort something out. Maybe they can set a time for you to go in the store and you can have the rich person life when when a celebrity comes in, they shut down the store for you. So if you can connect with them ahead of time, they can lock the store for you, and your partner can wander the store and feel like super rich as you have the entire store to yourself.
Not drink champagne.
And no champagne. But John and Andre will be I guess they do that for like Chanel and like Dolce & Gabbana in the stores when Beyonce goes in there. So if you want your Beyonce experience and your own personal sommelier to walk you through all the different stuff in the store, John and Andre will be happy to do that for you.
At that point, though, you better buy something. We closed down the whole store for you.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. But like, if you only have 4 people in the store, anyways, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't add new people in it anyways. So it is what it is. Yeah, buy a lot. Rob, where they can find you on on the interwebs? And while you're not cleaning up the floors of your basement, where can they find
You can see the juice box in the background.
Yeah. And the Spawn DVD is probably smashed to the ground, so
that's fine.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rob Gadet. On Monday, tomorrow, the 22nd of February, John and I are on live on Facebook, YouTube, 8 o'clock Eastern. We are continuing our bracket of the greatest 80s action movies, the sci-fi side bracket. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting conversation. We are pitting Arnold versus Arnold. It's going to be the Predator versus Running Man. And then we have a bit of a big announcement as well as to what's happening in the next couple of weeks. So definitely tune in tomorrow. I think John's got some interesting Running Man type game that he's willing to unleash onto the interwebs tomorrow. So that's Monday, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube and Facebook.
We're gonna shoot Rob down that chute into
Does
the wasteland.
John know the rules to the Running Man? Because based on the rules of Jeopardy, I'm really concerned.
I don't watch Jeopardy, but I watch a lot of Running Man.
Which is unfortunate.
yeah. You should go on Netflix and watch some Jeopardy. That'll make you feel better. Okay, so everyone out there, be safe. Support your local stores, especially going to next week. They can really need your help. Anything small is helpful. Be safe. Continue to wear your masks. Wash your hands, and we will all see you again the next week. Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.
No.